Chapter 1666. 100,000 words of encrypted content have been omitted. Replies to Chintian Handsome, exploding heavens will be automatically forwarded. 2 days and 2 nights later, they had finished exploring the entire ancient planet. Their harvest was great. The ground was filled with medicinal herbs that had yet to be harvested. The medicinal soil here was very fertile. If they were harvested in advance, it would be like killing the goose that laid the golden eggs. Su Yin was prepared to use this ancient planet as a secret base. Heavenly Star. Bao Kai thought of an extremely domineering name. He named this planet Heavenly Star. This ancient planet was very suitable for quiet cultivation. Even in the void, there was a powerful sealing formation. Su Yin did not waste any time. He returned to Heavenly Star through the space-time tunnel. However, the instant his figure was about to cross the space-time wormhole, Su Yin suddenly fell silent. His entire body was drenched in cold sweat. He could clearly sense that a terrifying divine will was sweeping through the area. This was definitely a terrifying leader who had come to dig for treasures. His main body had already descended on Heavenly Star, and there was more than one of them. On Heavenly Star, where rivers of blood flowed, supreme waves would occasionally rise. There might suppress the universe and the starry skies. The entire Heavenly Star was sealed off. They were even frantically searching for Old Man Tongtian's lair. They had arrived yesterday. When they saw the calamity on Heavenly Star, their faces almost collapsed. They had thought that they had arrived quickly enough. Who would have thought that someone would beat them to it? All the experts on Heavenly Star had been swept clean. Moreover, all the treasures had been taken away. Not a single hair was left. B** starred. A terrifying expert was furious. This person had some friendship with Old Man Tongtian. He was one of the few experts who knew the location of his lair. However, who would have thought that he would still be too late? The treasures had been taken away. Not a single hair was left. However, he did not believe that Old Man Tongtian only had one lair. He searched frantically, intending to find the secret place. However, he did not find anything for the entire day. Su Yin crouched at the space-time wormhole's entrance. His breathing was heavy. Fortunately, they had acted quickly. Otherwise, they would have been blocked. The person who had come would definitely be extremely powerful. There might even be more than one of them. It's a pity about the ancient city of space-time. Su Yin also felt that it was a pity. That was an important treasure of a sect, and if placed on a Heavenly Star, it could be used as a city for them to live in. Its defensive capabilities were also extremely strong. He quickly retreated, shattering space-time wormholes along the way. He borrowed the power of the heaven-opening brush to move this path away. He believed that even if an expert discovered the secret entrance, they would be affected by the space-time wormholes and be far away from the Heavenly Star. Mother of Asterisk, those old bastards got lucky. When Su Yin returned to Heavenly Star, the news he brought back made Bao Kai curse. He was excitedly roasting the dragon beast. This was a supreme life form and a great tonic. Even Zhu Yao was endlessly envious. He was already a true immortal of the great overarching heaven, and he even had great hopes of stepping into the great overarching golden immortal realm. Even if he could never attain the Paragon Dao, with his identity and status as a great overarching golden immortal, he would still be a powerful expert in the immortal heavenly domain. Su Yin. Zhu Yao thought for a while, then looked at Su Yin and said, "There are 3 fruits on the great overarching golden immortal tree. However, it's not easy to accelerate the ripening of the great overarching golden immortal fruit. I'm preparing to go back and buy some precious medicinal soil to speed up the growth of the great overarching golden immortal fruit." It was not difficult to accelerate the ripening of ordinary precious medicines. However, when it involved the rarest and rarest ancient medicines, it was quite difficult to accelerate the ripening of the fruit. However, with enough fertile medicinal soil essence, there was a high chance of accelerating the growth of the great overarching golden immortal tree. At present, the great overarching golden immortal fruit was still some distance away from ripening. It would take at least a few thousand years, or even tens of thousands of years. Of course, the price to accelerate the ripening of the fruit was too high. However, the Emperor Road was about to open. At this juncture, they had to do their best to cultivate the great overarching golden immortal fruit. They had gained a lot from this trip. They could buy a huge amount of medicinal soil essence to cultivate the fruit. Senior, you're already a great overarching true immortal. This fruit will be of great help to you. Before Su Yin could finish his words, Zhu Yao waved his hand and said with a smile, I'm already a bag of old bones. I've already fulfilled a dream of mine to be able to survive and step into the great overarching heavenly realm. There are only 3 great overarching golden immortal fruits. The 3 of you can have one each. His attitude was firm. He would not consume such precious ancient medicines. With a face full of desire, he said, the Emperor Road contest is about to enter the most important juncture. This great overarching golden immortal fruit will be enough to help you forge a shocking physical body in the true immortal realm. In the future, you might even step into the great overarching golden immortal realm and be able to break through to the great overarching golden immortal realm in a short time. Su Yin, Bao Kai, and Bamboo Moon had extraordinary potential now. If they were paired with the supreme secret medicine, their achievements would be even greater. Su Yin did not insist anymore. He activated the force field formation. It had to be said that even here, Su Yin could already sense that the intensity of the energy roaring in the Tianyang province's pinnacle battle was too intense. Zhu Yao left quickly. He was prepared to pay a huge price to hasten the ripening of the great overarching golden immortal fruit in a few short years. Night fell. Above the heavenly stars, the moonlight filled the sky, and a divine aura overflowed. In this pure land, one's Tao heart could easily calm down. Su Yan's killing intent and bloodthirsty aura dissipated. Bamboo Moon's snow-white body bloomed with moonlight and starlight. She was like a fairy from the Moon Palace, graceful and elegant, dignified and noble. Her clothes fluttered in the wind. Her eyes were as gentle as autumn water as she looked at Su Yin, who had been busy for almost an entire night. Su Yin used the power of the heaven-opening writing brush to draw on the power of the heavenly stars, the rivers, and the mountains. He was prepared to inscribe an extremely powerful mirror image art to observe the great battle in the Tianyang province. This battle had already lasted for a long time. He wanted to know the outcome. He did not plan to go to the Emperor Road in the near future. The golden immortal fruit was indeed important. Unless it was absolutely necessary, he would not leave in advance. In the early morning of the second day, in a certain canyon in the Heavenly Stars continent, clouds were rising and purple clouds were rolling. It was like an auspicious sign, accompanied by a refreshing fragrance that made one drool. The Baokai swallowed its saliva frantically. In front of it was a furnace that was releasing rolling flames. The furnace was filled with the heavenly earth source plasma. Of course, the most important thing was the dragon beast meat that was shining with divine light and releasing a fragrance that filled the air. Su Yin was shocked as he ran over. This was the meat of a dragon beast. This kind of living being contained the bloodline of the true dragon and was shockingly powerful. One could imagine how precious the meat of this kind of living being was. Only experts like Daozu were qualified to eat it. At the same time, the Baokai was roasting dragon beast thighs. Each thigh was golden and radiant. The 4 thighs were cooked. The Baokai picked up a 1,000-kilogram thigh and started munching on it. Su Yin also took a bite of the meat. When it entered his mouth, it was filled with a rich fragrance. When it entered his stomach, a ball of fire suddenly rose in his stomach, burning Su Yin red all over. The Baokai was greedy. After eating several dozen kilograms of meat, it was as if its butt was on fire. What the F***CK? The clouds in the sky were burned down. The bout-sized body was spitting fire as it cried out in pain. This was the meat of a supreme living being. Each piece contained vigorous essence and rich blood essence. It was difficult to lose weight after eating too much. The Bamboo Moon was laughing so hard that she was swaying back and forth. The Baokai ran around the world like a madman, trying to digest the blood essence in its body. It ran for half a day before it stopped. Suyin was also surging with essence chi. He had only eaten 5 kilograms of meat, but even so, his body was burning like a big furnace, and his pores were spewing essence on their own. This thing was really a great tonic. If they ate too much, they would even have a nosebleed. If they ate it for a long time, their bodies would become much stronger. Awesome. Suyin drank a cup of strong wine and laughed heartily. Bamboo Moon quietly refined the essence in her body and felt that her body had become stronger. She was shocked and moved. This supreme dragon beast weighed more than 10,000 kilograms of meat. It was clear how precious it was. Suyin felt that his body was surging with energy. His vitality was limitless, and his blood essence had become much stronger. The Baokai did not dare to eat too much. Of course, the most important thing was that it had cooked a pot of soup. It used the tail of a dragon beast as an ingredient. Strictly speaking, it was equivalent to a dragon tail. The Baokai really did not dare to chew on it directly. It was preparing to cook a great tonic soup to strengthen its body and essence chi, and to accumulate the foundation of its flesh. At night, the Baokai secretly found Suyin. With a face full of treachery, it said, "You've been busy these days, right? I've saved a dragon's penis." Suyin smiled evilly. The Baokai gave a knowing look and took out the dragon's penis that it had secretly cooked. Bam! Suyin raised his hand and slapped the bout-sized, treacherous mouth into its abdomen. What the F***? CK. Baokai's entire body seemed to have exploded as it charged into the sky and howled in pain. "Brat, just you wait. I'm not done with you. What's wrong with it?" Bamboo Moon was puzzled. The Baokai ate too much and wanted to move around. Suyin smiled mysteriously. Then, his face turned serious. He could sense the energy roaring out of the undying heavenly domain. However, this energy seemed to have become a lot more terrifying. Seems like something really happened. He quickly rushed to the super powerful mirror image technique and completed it as soon as possible. This array covered 100,000 miles. With the help of a large number of immortal Tao stones, it finally revived the super powerful space-time mirror image technique. Boom! Divine light surged in the area and turned into a huge mirror that connected heaven and earth. "Reflect!" Suyin roared. He pushed the space-time mirror with both hands and shone the source of the energy. Not good. Bamboo Moon clenched her fists tightly. Her face was serious and nervous. Her back was sweating. Suyin's heart also tensed up. The situation was getting worse. It was a little cruel and scary. The war in the Heavenly Sun State had been going on for a few days, and it was still not over. In short, the longer the war went on, the wider the area affected. The core of the undying heavenly domain, the 3,000 continents, were shaking as if they were about to collapse as the war spread out. Oh my God! The whole world was shaking. The 3,000 continents were covered by endless divine power. Everyone in the universe was trembling and prostrating on the ground. All the major sects and orthodoxies were warning that the peak war was about to escalate. Some old monsters who had been sleeping for a long time came out of their seclusion. They walked out of the terrifying land of death and called for a group of old experts to rush to the battlefield. At the same time, some terrifying old monsters came out of their seclusion in the void and even outside the core continents. Even among the flourishing sects, like the Sovereign Sect, there were also ancestor experts who did not care about worldly affairs that came out of their seclusion. The shocking change caused a huge panic. The undying heavenly domain trembled. All the sects were in an uproar. One after another, old monsters came out of their seclusion and suppressed the continents. The situation was very serious. If they sided with anyone, it would lead to a world-destroying war. Oh my God! Even the golden turtle came out of his seclusion. All the sects were in an uproar. It was said that he was the oldest existence in the undying heavenly domain. Chapter 1667. The calamity of the undying celestial region had attracted the attention of the entire world. The 3,000 continents at the core were shaking. Thousands of sects issued warnings. indicating that the world was in chaos. One after another, old monsters who had not shown themselves for a long time stepped out of their sects, gathered their old friends, and stepped into the battlefield. Such a terrifying event had caused the flames of war to spread throughout the undying celestial region. Even the continents outside were shaken. News spread everywhere, and everyone in the universe was terrified. Horrifying creatures were everywhere, and they were terrified. The Emperor Road was in a heated battle. Young sky prides were rising, and they were standing out in the Emperor Road. But now, the undying celestial region was no longer quiet. The ancient era of bloodshed was about to reappear. The sky prides of the Emperor Road were bitter. The old monsters were fighting for hegemony, and they felt depressed. Wasn't this the golden age of the younger generation? If the era of bloodshed really came, the younger generation was destined to be a tragedy. Someone couldn't help but sigh. If the celestial court was still around, the old monsters wouldn't come out of seclusion. The younger generation had their own environment and structure to fight for hegemony. But now that they are fighting, some of the Sky Pride's orthodoxies in the Emperor Road might be destroyed. The Blood Cloud Primogenitor was an example. The young Sky Prides of the Blood Cloud sect had been killed, mainly because he was in possession of the sect's heirloom. Who wouldn't be jealous? Once he lost the deterrence of his heritage, he would be a piece of meat in the mouth of the Sky Prides of the Emperor Road. There were also old monsters who had lived for an endless amount of time, whose emotions surged. They thought back to an extremely ancient period when the world was in chaos. Tao ancestors fought for supremacy, and the people were in a terrible situation. The number of people who died every day was uncountable. The most terrifying creatures in the universe were fighting for hegemony, and they wanted to dominate the celestial region space-time. It could be said that it was the end of the world. Some of the old monsters who had lived for a long time still remembered that the celestial court came out of nowhere and stabilized the situation in the undying celestial region. That era was too long ago, and some of the old monsters' memories were blurry. The celestial court was too powerful, and they had the support of the Xianhuang celestial region behind them. Some of the old monsters still remembered that the celestial court issued a war order to suppress the continents. The immortal celestial domain stopped fighting, and the era of immortal sects and orthodoxies came. The Xian people were extremely powerful since that era, but in the end, they were overshadowed by the celestial court. The celestial court did not rule over the entire immortal heavenly domain. They only established a branch in the 9 continents' heavenly cauldron. Do you want to recreate the primordial war, where rivers of blood flow and the heavens are stained with blood? A terrifying old freak roared angrily, his voice like a great bell, exploding between heaven and earth, transmitting far, far away. They were all experts of the same generation as the Xian people's ancestors. Their might was great, and even though their qi and blood had suddenly dried up, they were still exceptionally powerful. He called out to the world here, contacting all sides, inviting the ancestor experts of the various great sects to jointly seal up the collapsed Heavenly Sun province to prevent the war from spreading. Was the battle about to end? The 10,000 sects were in an uproar. They didn't expect them to stand out, just to stop fighting. After all, there were just too many ancestor giants who came, at least several dozen of them. It was to the extent where if they were willing, they could continue to call for more giants to join their side. This is impossible. Mystic Ice Sect's ancestor roared. A female ancestor giant, who was so old that she was beyond recognition, held a dragon-headed walking stick and released a supreme law of order. Her words were mournful, and she stopped the war just like that. Did they know how much price they had paid? The prehistoric Big Brother's strength exceeded their expectations. Several ancestor giants were heavily injured, and they had to drink the Daozu substance of the same generation's giant to recover. Furthermore, after the Blood Cloud sect's ancestor was destroyed, the entire Blood Cloud sect announced its collapse in a short span of 3 days. There is still a huge bloody hole in the ancestral land of the various clans, and countless people died. Mystic Ice Sect and the other clans were more or less invaded by enemy forces, and their clans were also heavily injured. This battle had ultimately led to a large-scale bloody battle, and no one was willing to withdraw now. The Lord of Hell's expression was gloomy, and he was also unwilling to stop fighting. He was extremely jealous of Old Ancestor Heavenly Sun's Solar Mother scripture, but he still couldn't kill him. However, Old Ancestor Heavenly Sun's strength was exceedingly high, and the prehistoric Big Brother who held the Heaven Burial Jar was ridiculously strong, stabilizing the entire battlefield. He originally possessed invincible strength, and now that he had a powerful weapon, it was difficult to suppress him in a short period of time. Of course, the most important thing was that the rebirth elixir was severely damaged, and the prehistoric Big Brother used the heaven-stealing art to steal the rebirth elixir's energy. After a few days, his appearance became more and more aged, but his combat strength became more and more unparalleled. They couldn't help but wonder, was the prehistoric Big Brother reincarnating? Or was he cultivating some kind of special divine ability? You can't bear the consequences. The undying heavenly domain is not your backyard. It's a universe controlled by all the orthodoxies in the world. The sovereign sect and the other supreme sects' faces turned cold, and they were angered by the fact that these people were unwilling to stop fighting. If they continued fighting, over 100 prefectures would fall, and the foundation of the undying heavenly domain would be shaken. At the same time, the dozens of giants who came together had cold expressions, and they faintly resonated with the godly energy in their bodies, wanting to suppress the entire prefecture. Someone even asked them to go out and fight in the distant void. Ha! You want us to stop fighting with just you? It's more likely that the Celestial Court's first heavenly emperor has come back to life. The Sien people's ancestor sneered, and the immortal slaying sword in his hand released a boundless murderous aura that could slaughter 10,000 immortals. He didn't believe that the prehistoric Big Brother could fight with them for a long time, and they would fight for 10 days or 8 years, and one of them would die. You are too arrogant. Our Celestial Court's first heavenly emperor is invincible. Who says he is dead? The azure dragon roared. Its dragon body was dyed in blood, and its almost indestructible true dragon body was filled with cracks. Its ferocious aura was heavy, and it angrily scolded the Sien people's ancestor for being arrogant and ignorant. Speaking of the first heavenly emperor, the experts who were entrenched here trembled in fear. The first heavenly emperor was unimaginable, and he had suppressed the undying heavenly domain without even making a move. He was an invincible heavenly emperor who could destroy the undying heavenly domain. Why was he called the first heavenly emperor? They all thought that he was the first heavenly emperor of the Celestial Court. He had created the glory of the Emperor Road and created the Emperor Road battlefield to nurture the younger generation of honorable martial artists. It had continued to this day, and each generation produced a world-shaking sky pride. Currently, almost half of the immortal orthodoxies in the world were powerhouses who had walked out of the Emperor Road. I don't care what you want to do, but this battle must end, or else the undying heavenly domain will be plunged into misery and suffering, and who will bear the responsibility for this karma? Some of the people who came were very tough, and it was clear that they would side with someone if they didn't end this battle. This was a little too serious, and the atmosphere instantly became tense. The Lord of Hell's expression was cold, and he said coldly, "We can stop fighting, but only if you hand over the item that the Celestial Court took away from the Emperor Road's final destination." Oh, the Golden Turtle progenitor's expression changed slightly. His aura was ancient and terrifying, and it was filled with the pressure of time. He had lived for too long, and was known as the most ancient creature in the undying heavenly domain. Even now, his blood chi was still as strong and shocking as ever. The Golden Turtle progenitor had not come out for a long time, and it was said that he did not even have any disciples. However, because he was the most ancient creature, he had the right to speak here. He wore a golden robe that was densely covered with golden patterns, as if millions of golden snakes were lying on his robe. He said calmly, I heard that the heavenly emperor of the celestial court died in the Emperor Rhodes' final battle, just to steal some kind of supreme treasure. It is said that this is one of the fundamental reasons that caused the bound of universe's metamorphosis. His words had a great impact on the world, and the impact was particularly shocking. The Yin Emperor's expression changed slightly as she caught the scent of a conspiracy. The golden turtle progenitor had gathered his old friends in the world and attracted the experts from various sections. Now, at this critical juncture, he was endlessly talking about the supreme treasure of the Emperor Road. It was obvious that he was purposely directing the attention to the celestial court. The atmosphere was so oppressive that it was suffocating. The group of Daozu giants were deep in their thoughts, and none of them spoke. The golden turtle progenitor's body was huge, and he did not look like a big turtle. Even though he was known as the most ancient creature in the world, he still exuded a strong and domineering aura. He looked at the prehistoric big brother and said, "Little brother, I'm a few years older than you. Can we talk about what happened in the past? This big brother can mediate between the two sides." "Suyen, what's wrong with you? Can you hear what they are saying?" Bamboo Moon was surprised as she noticed that Su Yan's expression was not right, and there was a bone-piercing, murderous intent in his eyes. Where did this old turtle come from? Su Yan's face was pale, and he said angrily, he called Big Brother as Little Brother. F***, his second uncle. Who is it? Did he eat the Heavenly Emperor's guts? Even the egg yolk is out of his mouth. The Baokai that was running wildly on the heavenly star roared, and it was so angry that it almost fainted. It rushed over with its big red eyes, and smoke billowed along the way as the storm continued. Bamboo Moon was speechless. What was wrong with the Baokai? It was too crazy. It had eaten a big dragon penis, so it would be strange if it was not crazy. The battle has reached this point. Big Brother will not retreat. But if they really fight, the consequences will be more and more serious. Su Yan's face was gloomy. A group of old farts had come, and it seemed like they were trying to stop the fight, but they were pointing the spearhead at the celestial court. Whether it was the Emperor Rhodes' final destination or the black-yellow universe, it was something that all the terrifying giants of the world wanted to know. But now that they knew it was because of a supreme treasure, how could they not be shocked and crazy? Who could sit still? Was this going to lead the world to kill and destroy the celestial court? Little brother. The golden turtle progenitor's expression was a little uneasy. Big Brother did not pay attention to it, and did not even look at it. Who was it? It was the most ancient creature in the world. The eyes of the world gathered on the prehistoric Big Brother. He stood tall in the blood-dyed territory, his heroic bearing unrivaled. His gray-white hair scattered down his back, covering his cold and callous face. Above his head, the heaven-bearing jug also gushed out a grand and magnificent might. The Inferno Emperor and the other two supreme beings had the celestial refining cauldron, which was the ancient celestial court's supreme treasure. Otherwise, the three supreme beings would not have relied on the celestial refining cauldron to fight the ancestors. Although the Azure Dragon was injured, its combat strength was still there. It could erupt with the power of the celestial court's battle order at any time. As for the Heavenly Sun Elder, his eyes were filled with a bone-piercing, murderous intent. He shouted, "Big Brother, say something. Fight them to the end, or what? After all, we killed one Daozu and severely injured the other three. It's a way to get back some interest." The Heavenly Sun Elder knew that he could not take revenge. He had to save his breath and seek justice in the future. He was not a brute and would not cut off his own path of retreat. So what if he says something? The initiative is in our hands. Black Ice Ancestor and the others looked terrible. They were indeed severely injured. Their lifespans were greatly reduced, and their lives were declining. Stop the war is fine too. The prehistoric Big Brother said calmly. Give up the 9 cauldron states, no way. Indeed, before the Big Brother finished his words, the Xian people's ancestors were the first to disagree. Giving up the 9 cauldron states would be slapping their own faces. More than 10 giants had joined in the hunt for the celestial court, but giving up the 9 cauldron states would be tantamount to admitting defeat. I don't need your approval to kill you. A cold voice exploded, like a supreme demon lord that crossed the 9 heavens and 10 lands. It was a scene of heaven and earth collapsing. Almost instantly, the prehistoric Big Brother stood at the strongest. His entire figure seemed to have cut off the past, present, and future, repeating the cycle of the great Tao. Roar! The azure dragon suddenly surged up. Its huge, blood-stained dragon body suddenly turned into an azure dragon battle armor and covered the Big Brother's body. Boom! In the end, a scream exploded. In the world suppressed by the sky burial jar, the prehistoric Big Brother was extremely terrifying. He destroyed Black Ice Ancestor with one punch. The ancestral substance in the sky boiled, and the rich blood essence splashed across the 33 levels of heaven again. Chapter 1668. The entire world was trembling. The Tao ancestor expert nursed a grievance, his flesh blasted through, his bones blasted apart. The scene was still so shocking. The silence between heaven and earth was shattered. Black Ice Ancestor had fallen. She was a female magnate who was once a peerless expert. But in the eyes of the prehistoric Big Brother, she was just a corpse. Her blood flooded the space between heaven and earth. The scene was enough to destroy heaven and earth. The vast space and time of the universe were destroyed. The images shown by the space-time mirror image technique were all blurry. Blood and broken bones were everywhere. This was a shocking and cruel scene. It made the hearts of the experts who were entrenched in the distance, wanting to stop them, turn cold. It was too cruel. The progenitor had been killed. Black Ice Ancestor's remnant soul screamed. She was about to go crazy. Her body was brutally destroyed. Her heart was filled with fear and despair. Why didn't they stop the war? Why did they stand up and refuse? Why? Now, it was all over no matter what she said. She couldn't live at all. Her remnant soul was trembling, and soon after, she fell into the boundless darkness. This was the heaven-burying pot devouring her remnant soul. It was as if she had fallen into the prehistoric great cosmos, enduring the cruel suppression. No, there was a final voice left in the world. It was filled with fear and unwillingness. It swept across the land and caused a huge storm. Bastard little brother, you've gone too far. You're ignoring us. The golden turtle progenitor was truly furious. The most ancient creature, stood out, but the prehistoric Big Brother didn't give it any face at all. He didn't even ask it a single question. It was a complete disregard. What kind of secret art is this? Some progenitors were shocked. They stared at the azure dragon armor that covered the prehistoric Big Brother's body. This was a true dragon's body with monstrous strength. The armor covered the prehistoric Big Brother's body. 1,000 transformations art, someone exclaimed. It was an extremely ancient secret art. It could transform one's body into anything. This secret art was extremely ancient and mysterious. It was said that when used together with 100 transformations, godly steel, it could transform anything. The azure dragon transformed his true dragon body into a suit of armor and covered the prehistoric Big Brother's body. Not only did it increase his defensive power, but it also boosted his power. After all, the azure dragon belonged to the Daozu tycoon. One could only imagine how terrifying the battle armor it had transformed into was. It was equivalent to a supreme treasure that could be resurrected at any moment. Therefore, the aura of the prehistoric Big Brother rose sharply and instantly killed the Daozu tycoon. Are all Daozu so easy to kill? There are also people who were alarmed. Wasn't this too savage? He had destroyed Black Ice Ancestor in one move. To be precise, these people competed with the strongest strength, and they could also decide life and death in a single blow. Daozu was already a Daoyuo Daozu. He had cultivated to the limit, and it was almost difficult for him to improve. Unlike other realms, where one could sublimate one's combat strength in a life and death battle. In short, some of the patriarchs who came to mediate had solemn expressions. They really had to consider carefully. Once they died in battle, their clans, orthodoxies, and everything else behind them would vanish along with them. What are you all waiting for? The golden turtle said coldly. The celestial court didn't give us any face at all. His words immediately attracted the response of a group of old friends, and some of the experts from the Pinnacle sects had murderous intent in their eyes. The atmosphere instantly became tense. At the critical moment, the Sword Sect Patriarch stepped out with the sky gem sword on his back and said coldly, "Why should the Celestial Court give you any face? Do you know who he is?" Calling him little brother, "You sure talk big," the Sword Sect Patriarch said. He, who had one of the 10 supreme treasures, the sky gem sword, was definitely one of the strongest giants here. There is no doubt that the Sword Sect Patriarch had also contacted a group of people. His slightly threatening eyes scanned the group of Daozu tycoons who were ready to make a move. Although they wouldn't interfere in this battle, they wouldn't let the Golden Turtle Patriarch and the others interfere with the battle either. Even more so, some of the neutral experts said that they wouldn't allow the battle to get worse, and they wouldn't allow any Daozu tycoons to participate in the battle. The Golden Turtle Patriarch's face turned gloomy. It was most likely impossible for him to participate in the battle. The terrifying battle broke out again, and the energy waves that filled the world shook the 3,000 core continents of the undying heavenly domain. Another patriarch has been killed. Balkai roared. Balkai roared out. The significance of this was too great. 2 great Tao ancestors had died, and this was definitely an extremely great shock. Once they died in battle, the consequences would be severe. All the glory would return to the dust, and this kind of shock would definitely be able to suppress the battle, forming an invincible momentum that would only grow stronger as the battle went on. Boom! The Xian people's patriarch roared, and he swung the immortal slaying sword. He was the main force of this battle, and he felt very sullen. He didn't want anyone else to participate, and he wanted to fight the prehistoric Big Brother alone. They were both invincible existences, and the prehistoric Big Brother was obviously avoiding the Xian people's attacks. He wanted to kill more enemies, and his goal wasn't just to kill a few Daozu tycoons. I wonder how this battle will progress. Su Yan's face was serious, and he used the space-time mirror image art to capture the blurry battle scenes. At this time, Zhu Yao returned with some news. The outside world was in a mess, and many merchant associations were selling their goods in large quantities. It was relatively easy for him to do business, and he spent a lot of money to buy a huge amount of medicinal soil. Don't look, go, and cultivate, and cherish every minute and second. Zhu Yao said, once this battle ends, no matter how it ends, the whole world will focus their attention on the Emperor's Road. It's not suitable to stay here for long. Su Yan nodded. He left a clone to gather information in the outside world, and his main body returned to cultivate in seclusion. Su Yan ate more than 10 kilograms of dragon meat, and his body was filled with essence qi. He then ran to the heavenly source plasma pool and prepared to break through to the 7th heaven true immortal realm. No matter what, he had to stand at the peak of the true immortal realm before the top 100 competition began. Because once this day came, the top 10 competition would also begin. This was the most important competition. Once this battlefield began, the Emperor's Road's final destination that Su Yan had been looking forward to for so many years would also reappear. The Emperor's Road's final destination had been sealed for millions of years, and there were too many secrets buried in it. Everyone wanted to find out the truth. Su Yan had always suspected that this was the origin of his life, and he wanted to step into the Emperor's Road's final destination the most. Time passed. Day after day, the immortal heavenly domain was in turmoil. If it weren't for the group of progenitors suppressing the roaring airflow from the battlefield, the consequences would be unimaginable. The battle was getting more and more brutal. The progenitors were fighting with their lives on the line, and the sky and the moon were destroyed. The Dark Eye sect is destroyed. The news shocked the world. It was almost the same as the Blood Cloud sect's ending. The foundation of the immortal sect's orthodoxy was very tempting. Who would want to get their hands on it? It was said that a group of terrifying leaders killed their way through the night, and in just one day, the entire Dark Eye sect was uprooted. The atmosphere of panic filled all the major continents. If this continued, the immortal heavenly domain would really enter a chaotic era. With ancient creatures appearing everywhere, the Emperor's Road had become the safest place. Kill. The Sien people's progenitor's roar shook all 3,000 continents. He and the prehistoric Big Brother had finally engaged in the most terrifying battle. The immortal slaying sword on his back emitted a light that could annihilate 10,000 immortals. The heaven's burial jar that was suppressing the prehistoric Big Brother's head emitted a boundless pressure of the universe. The laws were like the sea, and the energy was boundless. It formed a scene that could destroy heaven and earth, and the peak of the sky collapsed. The azure dragon was sent flying. It coughed out blood and was extremely shocked. The Sien people's progenitor's combat power was indeed extraordinary. It couldn't participate in this battle. This was the greatest battle in the immortal heavenly domain. The order was arranged above, and the ancestral matter was revealed. A terrifying collision occurred. The two huge fists collided together, and the aura was about to penetrate into another universe. There was also a shocking heaven-punishing force that poured out in full force. The boundless sky cracked open, and a terrifying crack appeared. What's that? Some terrifying old monsters saw some inconceivable scenes. Their whole body was emitting cold air. Was the immortal heavenly domain going to repeat the tragedy of the Xianwang universe? It was chaotic. The whole world had changed. At the battlefield, the whistling energy ripples were obviously weakening rapidly. Are they going to stop the war? Countless people were tense. They didn't know what was going on. However, more and more old monsters came out of the mountains and headed towards their destination. This meant that the situation was very serious. 3 days and 3 nights had passed, and the situation had finally changed. They are really going to stop the war. The universe's people exclaimed. It was as if they were carrying a heavy burden. The war was going to stop, and it seemed like some kind of agreement had been reached. At present, they still didn't know what was going on. However, 10 days had passed, and the Emperor Road was surging with a powerful storm. This was an unprecedented earthquake. Can anyone tell me what's going on? The sky prides of the same generation were tense. They had a hunch that something was wrong. That was because on this day, batch after batch, the elites of the immortal orthodoxies withdrew from the Emperor Road. Some of the outstanding experts of the great sects who didn't participate in the war in the heavenly sun state also withdrew from the Emperor Road. What was going on in the Emperor Road? Is the Emperor Road going to collapse? As soon as this matter was announced, it immediately caused a huge commotion. If it wasn't, what else could it be? However, a few days later, a huge piece of news was released, and it caused a huge commotion. The battle between the primogenitors has ended. The battlefield has been sealed, but they have reached an agreement. If the Celestial Court obtains the 9 cauldron states, they must occupy 3 of the top 10 spots on the Emperor ranking. Moreover, before the Emperor Road contest ends, the primogenitors are not allowed to fight. This is equivalent to restricting them from leaving the mountains. The whole world was shocked. The battle between the strongest cultivators in the world had been stopped for some special reason. It was forbidden to fight, but now it was reduced to a game between the younger generation. Did the Celestial Court win or lose? No one could say for sure. In short, the death of the 2 Daozus had a huge impact. Now that there was such a message, could it be that the strongest era of the Emperor Road was coming? This is the era of the primogenitor's disciples. Can it be understood as the strongest era? The entire Emperor Road was shaken. The sky prides of the same generation were devastated. The primogenitors were doing their best to nurture their disciples. Who could stop them? There were rumors that the forces of the underworld had announced that they wouldn't let the Celestial Court get a single spot. 3 spots were a nightmare. It was impossible. Who else does the Celestial Court have other than the young Devil King? Someone growled. This was the end of the Celestial Court's hope. The battle had ended for some special reason. It was said that the prehistoric Big Brother had angered the golden turtle primogenitor. He had a son who was about to be born. He had sealed himself for a long time and had unparalleled potential. He was worthy of being called the strongest bloodline among the primogenitors. On Heavenly Star, Su Yin had finally completed his breakthrough. He had rushed into the seventh heaven of the true immortal realm. His aura had increased tremendously. The closer one was to the later stages of the true immortal realm, the greater the improvement. Su Yin stood between heaven and earth. His powerful aura leaked out. It was terrifying and domineering. The blood essence in his body surged. He wanted to fight. Big brother, Su Yin was shocked. He had just finished his breakthrough when he saw a shocking figure appear outside Heavenly Star. The prehistoric Big Brother had arrived and descended on Heavenly Star. Bao Kai cried out excitedly. The Big Brother was fine. He had killed the two Daozu. Although the battle was inconclusive, the Celestial Court had the upper hand. Chapter 1669. A Legend Among Legends, Killing Daozu. Zhu Yao shouted excitedly. He tidied up his clothes, and his expression became solemn. He quickly went up to pay his respects. To Su Yin, Bamboo Moon, and Bao Kai, they had met their big brother many times. They respected him more and more. He was now the pillar of the Celestial Court. Only he could stand upright in the Celestial Court. The prehistoric Big Brother was extremely powerful. He killed two of Daozu's experts and severely injured three. One must know that even with more than 10 primogenitors working together, they were still defeated by the prehistoric Big Brother. Although the pinnacle battle ended due to special reasons, everyone knew how powerful the Celestial Court was. It was a giant that could shake the entire immortal heavenly domain. In the future, no one would dare to underestimate it. Although the reincarnation medicine was obtained by the Lord of Hell, it was severely damaged. The medicine's efficacy was not even 20% or 30% of its peak. It could be seen that the reincarnation medicine was swallowed by the prehistoric Big Brother. The damaged reincarnation medicine's value was greatly reduced. To the Lord of Hell, the reincarnation medicine had lost its value. Boom! The prehistoric Big Brother's majestic appearance was awe-inspiring. He crossed over to the heavenly star continent. His gray hair draped over his shoulders, covering his face. He looked very old, but his divine might was unparalleled. After the successive battles, he did not show any signs of decline. He was still an invincible giant at his peak. Big Brother. Bamboo Moon bowed. Her eyes were slightly red. If the prehistoric Big Brother did not pass on a secret technique to her, she might have broken through the sky bamboo forest and rebuilt the sky bamboo law idol. Zhu Yao's expression was strange. Wasn't it unreasonable to call such a majestic existence Big Brother? It was more appropriate to call him Ancestor. The prehistoric Big Brother's figure was huge. He was like a supreme demon god standing there. Although there was no aura flowing around him, he was still like a pillar that suppressed the hearts of people. Bao Kai was very excited. Big Brother's arrival at this juncture might bring them some opportunities. Boom! In the distance, the immortal weapon tree, which was rooted between heaven and earth and swallowed the energy of the universe, rushed out in an instant and rushed in front of the prehistoric Big Brother. The immortal weapon tree changed. Sure enough, only giants could move the immortal weapon tree. In an instant, its brilliance overflowed into the heavens. The entire bronze tree seemed to have turned into a supreme immortal weapon, gushing with boundless immortal weapon order, scattering down endless great Tao symbols. The strength of the immortal weapon tree is unquestionable. Old Man Tong Tian is in charge of the immortal weapon tree. He is definitely not as abnormal as the prehistoric Big Brother. The entire bronze tree shone. It was as thick as the abyss. Su Yin was even more shocked. He felt that the immortal weapon tree had transformed into the strongest immortal weapon. It contained incomparable divine might. Was this the original appearance of the immortal weapon tree? Big Brother points with his finger, and the immortal weapon tree rumbles. A terrifying, devouring power emerged and swallowed the natal Dharma seed in Bamboo Moon's body. The Bamboo Moon's Dharma Laksana seed was very unique. It was silver-white in color and was 3 feet tall. It was surrounded by the essence of Mother Chi and could be considered as the rough embryo of a supreme treasure. This bamboo not only contained her Tao fruit, but it was also equivalent to her natal artifact. Not only can it cultivate weapons, it can also improve the grade of weapons. Bao Kai was shocked. There is such an effect, but it is not so easy to open the evolution ability of the immortal weapon tree. The silver bamboo rushed to the peak of the immortal weapon tree. Suddenly, the prehistoric big brother's mouth and nose spewed out a stream of air that affected the abyss. It was as if the vast void of space and time, the vast divine power, collapsed completely. This is the power of the stealing heaven technique. It is peerlessly powerful. The prehistoric big brother used this supreme secret technique to stimulate the immortal weapon tree to become millions of times brighter. This is the real immortal weapon tree. Bao Kai exclaimed. The immortal weapon tree changed. Billions of immortal Dao runes appeared and turned into billions of immortal Dao figures. They were also like billions of immortal Dao flowers, chanting the great Dao scripture. Boom! As if the world was being split apart, the silver bamboo, floating at the peak of the immortal weapon tree, shone brightly. It was as if it was being worshipped by the immortal Dao of the heavens. The silver bamboo became more and more blazing, and its size was also shrinking. In just 10 breaths of time, the silver bamboo turned into a foot tall. It was densely covered with endless, mysterious, immortal Dao runes. Along with the rise of the source chi, a vast aura of opening the heavens was emitted. Boom! The prehistoric big brother threw the silver bamboo, instantly breaking open the sky and shaking the stars. Bamboo Moon was dumbfounded. Its life bamboo was a lot more terrifying. Bao Kai bared its teeth in excitement. It really wanted the prehistoric big brother to help it temper its primal chaos seal. However, they discovered that the immortal weapon tree's power was greatly reduced. Its entire body declined, and the immortal Dao light it emitted dimmed. Zhu Yao was surprised and happy. There is no doubt that the big brother can activate the strongest forging ability of the immortal weapon tree. However, there is one point. The immortal weapon tree cannot forge infinitely. It has declined and needs to slowly accumulate the power of the immortal weapon. The big brother nodded in satisfaction. Then, he imprinted the sky full of mysterious runes. The runes were special. It was as if a sea of stars was imprinted on the bamboo body. It was beautiful beyond compare. When the silver bamboo returned to Bamboo Moon's body, she felt dizzy. Her expression was a bit pained, and she slowly returned to silence. It was clear that the silver bamboo and Bamboo Moon were one. The bamboo returned with good fortune. Bamboo Moon also seemed to be draped in the sea of stars and fell into the vast great Tao. Thank you, Senior, for bestowing the technique. Bamboo Moon respectfully bowed. He was very excited. Bamboo Moon had obtained a great opportunity. With the power of the immortal weapon tree and the big brother's inheritance, the future Bamboo Moon will definitely go further on the path of immortality. The prehistoric big brother's eyes flashed with surprise. His bottomless eyes fell on the mysterious Tao seed, especially the heaven and earth stone embryo. Although a large amount of energy was swallowed by the mysterious Tao seed, it still howled with source chi and supreme ancestral matter appeared. The strange stone was full of bumps and hollows. The stone body was inscribed with tens of thousands of supreme runes. It seemed to be smelting a supreme Tao fruit. Under the gaze of the prehistoric big brother, the broken stone shined, as if a broken and magnificent universe was rotating. Chaos Universe Stone. He couldn't help but exclaim, "What a great opportunity! What great fortune!" This was a rare supreme treasure. It was a pity that it was unearthed before it was completed. Otherwise, when this Chaos Universe Stone was completed, the immortal celestial domain would have another supreme treasure. In the eyes of the prehistoric big brother, the supreme treasure was not a simple Daozu weapon, but a supreme treasure of the same level as the heaven-burying jar. Chaos Universe Stone. Zhu Yao was horrified. This was a treasure that existed in legends. However, it only existed in legends. No one had seen it before. Who would have thought that the Chaos Universe Stone really existed? Then, the supreme great Tao runes imprinted on the stone body should be the most terrifying supreme great Tao. For experts like Daozu, it was an immortal treasure that they could fight for with their lives. Even if it was a broken Chaos Universe stone, it was still a great fortune. But what was the origin of the mysterious Tao seed that it could even swallow the Chaos Universe stone? It was truly unimaginable. Boom! The prehistoric Big Brother swung his sleeve and grabbed the mysterious Tao seed that was attached to the Chaos Universe stone. His expression was a little serious, and his bottomless eyes bloomed with a terrifying radiance. Tut! The prehistoric Big Brother let out a low roar, and his entire aura shook. The terrifying primitive Saint Power was resurrected and instantly resonated with the mysterious Tao seed. The Tao seed bloomed with a monstrous light. Visible to the naked eye, the world and its body was tumbling with primitive runes and tens of thousands of great Tao runes. It was densely packed, and its aura was boundless and vast. Su Yan was shocked. The mysterious Tao seed had seized the fortune of the Chaos Universe stone and included its Tao technique in the Tao seed. Someone's here. Bao Kai was startled. A figure appeared in mysterious Tao seed. The figure was terrifying. It existed in the mysterious Tao seed and was isolated by the Supreme Order. But it still emitted an ancient emperor's aura that suppressed the universe. Ancient celestial emperors? Su Yan's hair stood on end, and his scalp tightened. If the prehistoric Big Brother wasn't here, he really wouldn't know what to do. The mysterious Tao seed had the mark of a supreme being. It was suspected to be the ancient celestial emperors. It was presented by the mysterious Tao seed in a different way, and it was in a dormant state. It didn't emit any aura, and it looked quite evil and mysterious. Why is there a life in the Tao seed? Zhu Yao sucked in a breath of cold air. It was too illogical. Could it be that the life in the Tao seed would gradually revive and awaken, come into being in a different way? This was equivalent to being born from heaven and earth, and it had swallowed the fortune of the Chaos Universe stone. Perhaps when it came out in the future, it would be peerless and invincible. But this wasn't a good thing for Su Yan. He had obtained the mysterious Tao seed for over 100 years, and now he had encountered the great fortune of the Chaos Universe stone. Wouldn't he be working for the life in the Tao seed in the future? In any case, it was better to leave it to the prehistoric Big Brother to deal with the mysterious Tao seed. The Big Brother was moved. His deep eyes stared at the mysterious Tao seed. When he let out a heaven-shaking roar, the supreme figure inside the Tao seed changed. It was as if the shackles had collapsed. The Supreme Emperor's might filled the past, present, and future. Its influence was unparalleled, and the entire heavenly star was trembling. Is it him? Su Yan trembled. He felt that this figure was very similar to the unparalleled celestial emperor above the eternal heavenly sun with a cauldron above his head. Could the mysterious Tao seed be the creation substance left behind by the ancient celestial emperors? A Tao seed formed after years of precipitation? However, because his influence was too great, even the Tao seed that had settled down could not escape his influence. Gradually, he was about to manifest his imperial body. At first, the prehistoric Big Brother was pleasantly surprised. But then his expression turned serious. He seemed a little scary. He had entered a state of battle. It was terrifying and frightening. Oh no! He clenched his fists tightly, and his figure collapsed this space-time. The shadow inside the Tao seed changed. It was terrifying and evil. His pupils opened, and two beams of blood-red light shot out, darkening the entire sky. Boundless blood-red light covered the world. The world seemed to be collapsing as if it was being destroyed. Billions of lives were about to bleed. The terrifying influence in the outside world changed the color of the heavens. A sea of blood flowed, indicating the arrival of a catastrophe. It's going to give birth to an evil devil, the Bao Kai roared. It was too evil. It couldn't help but tremble. It felt that the Emperor's shadow in the Tao seed had turned into a devil master who wanted to destroy the world. Chapter 1670. The land of Heavenly Star shook violently. It was about to explode. Bao Cai's expression changed. This was a cultivation land that he had found with great difficulty. If it was destroyed because of the mysterious Tao seed, it would be a great loss. Boom! The mysterious Tao seed was like a unique universe rotating. The supreme God's shadow within it was revived. It opened its blood-red eyes, causing the entire sky to darken. Then, bloodlight surged, drowning time and space. It was a terrifying change. Heavenly Star was about to welcome a huge change. The supreme God's shadow and the mysterious Tao seed had awakened with the power to destroy the world. Suyan's scalp went numb. This effect was terrifying. His eyes were like the source of destruction. Bloodlight surged and surged out, drowning the entire universe. This was because Su Yin could sense that a majestic power was awakening inside the mysterious Tao seed. It suppressed the 9 heavens and 10 lands. This supreme God's shadow wanted to walk out of the mysterious Tao seed's world and dominate the heavens. He felt the aura of destruction surging and strengthening endlessly. In the end, the prehistoric Big Brother's aura spread and covered the land of Heavenly Star, preventing this ancient planet from entering a state of destruction. He sighed. He saw the cruelty in the Emperor's shadow's eyes. It was like the other side of the ancient celestial emperors, representing the source of evil. Soon, the prehistoric Big Brother's gaze landed on the Chaos Universe Stone. This supreme treasure most likely had a great origin and affected the Tao seed. This could be said to be a contaminated Tao seed. Could this Chaos Universe Stone be from prehistory? It came from a world of destruction in prehistory and was filled with endless hatred. It was like the hatred of the universe that carried the universe, slowly affecting this Tao seed. The Tao seed was formed slowly over the years because of some energy substances of the ancient celestial emperors. It also absorbed the order of heaven and earth and the rules of Tao. Finally, under the nourishment of the Chaos Universe Stone, it began to grow rapidly. If the creature in the Tao seed walked out, it would be a disaster for the universe. Kuchin ink stain. The prehistoric Big Brother sat cross-legged between heaven and earth, chanting the great Tao scripture. It was like a soul-summoning song that awakened the past. The syllables were grand, dense, and extremely bright. They also turned into supreme, great Tao symbols. Scripture characters that filled the sky were imprinted on the mysterious Tao seed. In that instant, the Tao seed rumbled and auspicious multicolored light surged. It seemed to have turned into an immortal seed, peaceful and auspicious. It seemed to be supreme, as if it was a great Tao immortal fetus. It was extremely divine. Roar! Within the Tao seed, a terrifying explosion rang out. It was enough to shatter the heavens and split the seas and shatter 10,000 immortals. If not for the prehistoric Big Brother standing here, this would have been a great disaster that would have been difficult to stop. The Emperor's shadow within the seed was roaring, extremely evil, wishing to rush out. However, the power of the Tao seed was awakened by the prehistoric Big Brother. Even though it was only a small amount of matter, it was still enough to shock the world. It was as if it produced a sea of stars, crushing down on the Emperor's shadow, about to grind it to pieces. Is he cutting off evil thoughts? Su Yin was visibly moved. This was truly a headache. If the Tao seed was allowed to continue evolving, it would most likely undergo a major change. Fortunately, the prehistoric Big Brother had seen that the mysterious Tao seed had been contaminated and could have ended it in advance. However, what Bao Kai and the others didn't expect was that this great purification lasted for 3 days and 3 nights. The heavenly stars trembled continuously. Sometimes, black fog covered the sun, and an evil aura filled the sky. It was as if the end of the universe had arrived. At other times, it was auspicious and divine, with millions of auspicious multicolored lights and purple chi coming from the east. In short, the prehistoric Big Brother kept chanting scriptures. It didn't use any power, only the power of the Tao seed to resist the evil thoughts within. After 3 days and 3 nights, the evil thoughts finally collapsed into a pile of ashes. Boom! In that instant, the supreme Tao seed shone. It was like an immortal seed suspended above the 9 heavens, supreme and possessing a terrifying aura. Its influence was far-reaching, as if it had shaken the past, present, and future. Su Yin felt that this kind of seed's value was too high. It was left behind by the ancient celestial emperors. Once integrated into one's body, it would be truly amazing. One could reach the great heights of the ancient celestial emperors, and one's future achievements would be limitless. Cut. Suddenly, the prehistoric big brother stood up, raised his hand, and turned it into a palm blade. In that instant, the space-time trembled and split apart. It was as if a guillotine had come flying down from the heavens and chopped down on the Tao seed. Big brother won't destroy the Tao seed, will he? Bao Kai felt his heart ache. Hearing this, Zhu Yao shook his head and said, "Not at all. Senior is no ordinary person." He cut off all the imprints on the Tao seed and turned it into a pure Tao seed. Bao Kai turned pale. In fact, with the terrifying degree of a Tao seed, it was completely possible to cultivate an outstanding genius. However, the prehistoric big brother didn't do so. He cut off all the imprints on the Tao seed and turned it into a pure Tao seed. This was equivalent to cutting off the Tao imprints on the Tao seed. How imposing were the ancient celestial emperors. Even if one obtained the Tao seed he left behind and obtained the celestial emperor's Tao fruit, it was basically impossible to stand at the same height as the celestial emperor in the future. With the strength of the ancient celestial emperors, he could completely affect the Tao heart of those who had fused with the Tao seed. The path they had walked in the past would also be cut off. The path of invincibility was different. Dao Zhu created his own path in Tao. He would gradually break away from the influence of his predecessors. However, if he really couldn't walk out of it, it would be almost impossible for Dao Zhu to take a step forward. In the end, the Tao seed changed. It was like the purest, immortal source in the world, blooming with auspicious light. The Tao seed sat on the chaotic universe stone again and swallowed its energy to strengthen the Tao seed. When Su Yin was strong enough in the future, he could fuse with it and use it to go further. After doing all this, the prehistoric big brother stood up. He raised his hand and threw the heaven-bearing jar out towards Su Yin. Su Yin's heart skipped a beat as he said, "Big brother, this sex treasure is useless to me. I have the 9 heavenly cauldrons and the heaven-opening brush. You can keep the heaven-burying jar to protect yourself." The prehistoric big brother shook his head slightly. The heaven-burying jar was terrifying, but at his level of cultivation, treasures were dispensable to him. He didn't need to rely on any treasures. Moreover, Su Yin needed the heaven-burying jar more than him in the future. Boom! Just as Su Yin was about to say something, the space between Su Yin's eyebrows trembled violently. One after another, majestic and vast memories swarmed into his sea of consciousness. Su Yin's heart skipped a beat. The prehistoric big brother was passing on Tao and Tao to him. This was the second time. The first time, he passed on the body nurturing technique to him. Su Yin had only cultivated the 3-level body nurturing technique to the peak of the 2nd level. He often meditated on the 3rd level, but unfortunately, it was difficult to enter the 3rd level. Therefore, Su Yin seriously suspected that the 3rd level of the body nurturing technique was the legendary heaven stealing technique. Now, the prehistoric big brother was passing on the supreme technique for the 2nd time. The endless and mysterious seals made Su Yin feel pain. He felt as if his sea of consciousness was about to explode. It was excruciating. Reincarnation, heaven punishing Tao. Vaguely, Su Yin heard the voice of an ancient dragon. It shook Su Yin so much that he fainted. This divine ability was too powerful. Su Yin's primordial spirit couldn't bear it at this stage. He had to slowly accept a series of inheritances. The Bao Kai also jumped high as if it had been hit by a brick. It fell to the ground and fainted. "This is great." Zhu Yao was surprised and happy. The prehistoric big brother was passing on techniques one after another. It was clear how important they were to him. It was obvious that his big brother placed great importance on the Emperor Road as well. He hoped that they could rise up in the future. The Emperor Road was once created by the Celestial Court. Every generation of the Celestial Court had a peerless Ingjia in the Emperor Road. Therefore, after 1,000,000 years, the glory and legends left behind by the Celestial Court in the Emperor Road could not be stopped just like that. Su Yin felt a little dizzy. His small body was like a small boat floating on the sea. It was a strange feeling. He felt as if he was dreaming. Boom! Su Yin turned over abruptly. Zhu Yao was shocked. It was as if he saw a shadow turning over in the cycle of reincarnation. He buried himself in the cycle of reincarnation and went into hibernation one life after another. His body seemed somewhat ancient. It was radiating with the light of reincarnation. It was dazzling. Bamboo Moon and the others had received great opportunities. They were quietly digesting the inheritances. No one knew when they would wake up. In short, Su Yin was in a daze. He seemed to be very tired and would not wake up easily. He did not know how long he had been in a coma. Su Yin felt as if his body was drifting in the sea of reincarnation. During this process, his body became more ancient and more mysterious. It was as if a part of ancient history was settling in his body. In the cycle of reincarnation, he saw all sorts of unbelievable scenes. Billions of corpses were strewn everywhere. The heavens were bathed in blood. It was as if the entire universe was withering away under the influence of reincarnation. Countless eras withered. Only the cycle of reincarnation was eternal. Boom! Su Yan's chest glowed. On this day, he woke up from his deep slumber. He stretched his body and yawned. The heavens and earth were trembling. It was as if a slumbering, chaos, ancient god was awakening. It exuded an ancient aura that lingered for a long time. Su Yan's eyes opened. He did not know how long he had slept. His body was slightly stiff. However, his bodily functions were still vigorous. He recovered after a little exercise. He felt his energy surging. It was as if he had been bestowed with a special ability. Suddenly, Su Yin recalled his previous experience. He had received the prehistoric Big Brother's teachings. He had received the inheritance of the reincarnation heaven-punishing path. Su Yin had already mastered the reincarnation great path. However, he did not receive the inheritance of the reincarnation lineage. Hence, it was difficult for him to unleash his ultimate trump card. He did not expect the prehistoric Big Brother to create an earth-shattering ultimate art for him. It was rather terrifying and perverse. He even suspected that this secret art was on the same level as the heaven-punishing sword path. Yin Emperor, Su Yin was surprised. The space-time of this world was a little dark. Then, he saw a woman of unparalleled beauty walking out of billions of blazing flames. Step by step, her beauty was unparalleled. She was like a supreme deity. Her celestial appearance was unreal. It was like a dream. Her long black hair danced in the wind. Her graceful figure rose and fell. Soon, the phenomenon around her dispersed. From the lofty Yin Emperor, she turned into a stunning beauty. She had bright red lips, an oval face, limpid eyes, and radiant skin. In the next moment, Su Yin almost spurted out blood from his nose. Yin Emperor's clothes were torn, revealing her soul-stirring snow-white body. She had a charming smile on her face as she walked towards him step by step. I suddenly took a sharp turn. I can't stop in time. Great Emperors, please help me hold her back. Chapter 1671. Su Yan's face trembled as his chest heaved up and down. The scene in front of him was a little too unreal. When he was sure that he wasn't dreaming, Su Yan's head was also buzzing. What's going on? Who am I? Where am I? Is time and space messed up? The high and mighty Flame Emperor was noble and peerless. Everyone thought that she was a man. But who would have thought that Flame Emperor was a stunning woman, a queen worthy of her title? Although she wasn't a tycoon like Daozu, she was also known as an invincible supreme expert. She had great hopes of stepping into the realm of Daozu in the future and becoming the pillar of the Celestial Court. Her future was limitless. But now, Flame Emperor's clothes were torn and her snow-white body was perfectly presented in front of him. Su Yin almost had a nosebleed. He also felt that he was blind. Wasn't this messing up the seniority and the order? You mother of asterisk her. Suddenly, an angry voice exploded in Su Yan's ears, snapping him out of his shock. Su Yan was a little dizzy. This was a woman like the goddess of the galaxy. She was graceful and elegant, holy and peerless. She rushed here quickly. Her cheeks were covered in frost, and her eyes were also emitting cold air. Su Yan was in a panic. What's going on? Why is Bamboo Moon here? He felt that he couldn't explain it, even if he had 8 mouths. But the next change made Su Yan's face collapse. Green smoke was coming out of his nostrils, his forehead was full of black lines, and his heart was boiling with anger. Baokai, you goddamn! Bamboo Moon was furious. Her eyes were spitting fire. Her aura was surging to the peak. A vast sea of stars vaguely appeared behind her, with silver bamboos taking root in it, surging with an unparalleled aura. In the blink of an eye, Zhu Yu's aura became much stronger. She was like a goddess that could suppress the sea of stars. The suppressive force of her hand was enough to shake the world. The vast sea of stars trembled as she pressed down on the treasure. Ha! Baokai laughed maniacally. The Flame Emperor's body shattered and turned into a fat panda. Then, its body turned and suddenly turned into a tall man. It was as if a real, prehistoric elder brother was standing here and looking down on all living things. The tall man's strength reached the heavens and the earth. His godly aura filled the sky as he wielded the primal chaos seal. There was also a thick, true dragon coiling around his body, forcefully stopping the shocking power unleashed by Bamboo Moon. Evil Baokai. Su Yan was furious. He leaped and rushed toward the Baokai. In a short period of time, Su Yan's aura had awakened. The vast power of reincarnation appeared behind him, forming a sea of reincarnation that rushed towards the Baokai. God damn it! What kind of secret technique is this? Baokai was frightened. The boundless power of reincarnation pressed down, containing an unparalleled killing force. This was the reincarnation heaven punishing Tao. Although Su Yan had only just touched it, once he used it, the reincarnation would appear. Millions of corpses would lie within, and the heavens would be stained with blood. Everything would wither. It was a shocking phenomenon. The heavens and the earth blurred as the power of reincarnation drowned the Baokai. Baokai, if I don't hang you up and beat you up for 3 days, my surname isn't Su. Su Yan was furious. He joined forces with Bamboo Moon to beat up the Thai Baokai. One uppercut caused the Bao-Tsai's nose to bleed, while the other uppercut caused half of its face to swell up. Baokai screamed miserably. It was like a fat sandbag flying in the air. Blood spurted from its body as it screamed like a pig being slaughtered. At the side, Zhu Yao was speechless. Bao-Tsai's transformation art was shocking. It could turn into a cauldron, a bell, nothingness, or even a grain of sand. In short, the art of 1,000 transformations was really full of transformations. This was an unparalleled secret technique that could be said to be a work of the gods. It could transform into any substance at will, and it had transformations that were difficult for ordinary people to understand. Just now, it even tricked Su Yan. One could imagine how shocking the art of 1,000 transformations was. Stop hitting, I was wrong. Baokai was beaten up. Its face was bruised and swollen, and its panda eyes were purple. It screamed like a pig being slaughtered. I was just testing the art of 1,000 transformations. I didn't mean anything else. Stop it, Su Yan was furious. Of all the people it could transform into, it just had to be the Flame Emperor. I've recorded the scene just now. I'll pass it to the Flame Emperor later. At this moment, Bamboo Moon had an idea and said. Baokai was so scared that it broke out in cold sweat. It shivered and complained. I don't even know what the Flame Emperor looks like. I just transformed into it casually. You guys can't be so rude. Are you still one of us? It's okay. It's up to the Flame Emperor to believe it or not. I'm just responsible for passing on the message. Bamboo Moon revealed a devilish smile. Baokai was so scared that its legs were trembling. It was about to kneel down and cry. Its heart couldn't take it anymore. When it thought of the Flame Emperor's domineering look, it shivered. Su Yan taught Baokai a lesson. He hung it up and gave a good beating. "Stop hitting, I was wrong. Stop hitting," Baokai cried loudly. It looked really miserable as it was hung up and beaten. Su Yin was also shocked by the myriad transformations. It was indeed a famous secret skill. It seemed like the prehistoric Big Brother had given Baokai a lot of care. With this divine ability, Baokai would go far on the path of being a villain. Reincarnation Heaven Punishing Tao. Why do I feel that this divine ability is similar to the Heaven Punishing Sword Tao? Both divine abilities carry the Heaven Punishing Tao. Could this be a series of secret skills, the Heaven Punishing series? When he thought of this, Su Yan's face turned pale. Was it a peerless secret skill that was said to be able to destroy the heavens? This should belong to the prehistoric great divine ability. If there was such a secret skill in the prehistoric times, how terrifying was it? Back then, the disciple of the Xian people's ancestor, Xian Jun, had mastered a secret skill that belonged to the Heaven Punishing series. Su Yin thought to himself, how many secret skills were there in this series? Perhaps other orthodoxies had also mastered them before, but they had always kept it a secret. For example, the Sun-Mother scripture that the Tianyang ancestor had mastered was unknown to the outside world. Usually, when it came to such a secret skill, it could easily lead to the extinction of an entire clan, unless the clan was on the side of the invincible Daozu. However, the Heaven's Reincarnation Tao was extremely difficult to cultivate. It was different from the Heaven Punishing Sword Tao. The Heaven Punishing Sword Tao was divided into 4 major sword techniques, and one could go from shallow to deep. However, the Reincarnation Heaven Punishing Tao only had one move to kill. It involved too many things, including reincarnation. "Su Yin, you've been asleep for half a year," Zhu Yao said softly. Many things have happened in the outside world these days, each more shocking than the last. When he heard this, Su Yin was stunned. He had been asleep for half a year. To put it more accurately, Su Yin had been comprehending the Reincarnation Heaven Punishing Tao in his sleep for half a year. This was how terrifying the prehistoric Big Brother was. After all, this secret skill was beyond Su Yan's understanding. In order for him to master it as soon as possible, Su Yin was lured into a sleeping state to cultivate. What's going on? Su Yan's heart sank. The prehistoric Big Brother descended on Heavenly Star, imparted a secret skill to the 3 of them, and left after that. The outside world was in chaos. News was flying everywhere, and the cultivation world was getting more and more restless. After the apocalyptic battle in the Tianyang state, the immortal heavenly domain was still in turmoil, even after half a year. In this half a year, the Emperor Road was in turmoil. Shocking news was constantly spreading, causing a storm in the Emperor Road. It was said that a powerful descendant of an immortal orthodoxy had appeared. They might be the first generation of the primogenitor, which meant that they were the primogenitor's son. There was no need to say how terrifying the bloodline of the descendants of the Tao ancestor was. Since they had been sealed by the Tao ancestor until now, one could imagine how heaven-defying their potential was. It was said that the primogenitor Golden Turtle's son, known as the Little Golden Turtle Saint, had stepped into the Emperor Road and caused a bloodbath. He had defeated some of the Sky Prides in the Emperor Road's top 10,000 list. Of course, he was not the only one. The Heaven's Sealing Sect and the other ancient orthodoxies all had terrifying bloodline experts that were about to appear. This era was crazy enough. The most terrifying battle was about to begin. Of course, this was secondary. The most important thing was that people like the reincarnated body were being nurtured by the primogenitor. It was very likely that the primogenitor would use his own Daozu's blood to lay a shocking foundation for them. Therefore, the Emperor Road was now in turmoil. It was known as the most powerful Emperor Road battlefield in history. The Xian people and the other forces have announced that you won't get a single slot, Zhu Yao said coldly. They've even announced that the top 100 list will stop. You have to get 3 slots in order to regain control of the 9 called estates. If the Celestial Court was at its peak, it wouldn't be too difficult to get 3 slots. However, things are different now. After the battle in the Tianyang state, the Xian people's primogenitor and the others lost face. 2 Daozu died in the battle, and several others were severely injured. That battle had severely suppressed their prestige. It was a great humiliation for the prosperous, immortal orthodoxies. The celestial court, which had been destroyed, still had such terrifying combat strength. The Daozu had been suppressing their anger and had nowhere to vent it. Now, they had placed all their hopes on the Emperor Road. They hoped that the younger generation would be able to trample the celestial court under their feet, so that they would never be able to rise again. Therefore, in their anger, they had taken out all kinds of top-notch treasures to nurture the strongest cultivators under them. They hoped that they would be able to display their might on the Emperor Road and suppress the celestial court, especially the young Demon King. 3 slots. This is one of the reasons why Big Brother taught us the secret technique. Su Yan's eyes were like lightning. The top hunter competition was about to begin. Time was of the essence. Those Daozu powerhouses who had suffered great losses on the battlefield now wanted to regain their lost face on the Emperor Road. It seemed that the prehistoric Big Brother also attached great importance to the Emperor ranking. This was not only about personal honor, but also the honor of the entire tribe. In the past, has there ever been a tribe that dominated 10 slots in the Emperor Road? Su Yan asked suddenly. Hearing this, Zhu Yao was stunned. He then shook his head and said, "How is that possible? Even during the Celestial Court's most prosperous era, they only dominated 6 slots. That's already terrifying enough. The Celestial Court of that era was truly powerful. Even at the very least, they had obtained 3 slots. Damn it, we can't even get 3 slots." Bao Cai's face was bruised and swollen. He ran over and said fiercely, "I don't believe that those Daozu can nurture someone who defies the natural order. So what if their bloodline is strong? We'll still beat them up." Hearing this, Zhu Yao frowned and said, "Bao Cai, don't underestimate the Daozu. Even more so, don't underestimate the Daozu's son. For example, the little golden turtle saint is the son of the golden turtle progenitor. His bloodline is superb, and he might even have inherited the Daozu's divine powers. His strength is unpredictable. Once you encounter him, you must do your best to deal with him. Don't be careless." The little golden turtle saint? Su Yan frowned. He had never heard of this before. Zhu Yao knew that the golden turtle progenitor was the most ancient creature in the world. The wealth and resources he possessed were unimaginable. The old man Tong Tian was just a junior in front of him. It's the golden turtle progenitor who called Big Brother his little brother. Su Yan was enraged. At that time, the golden turtle progenitor was even prepared to make things difficult for Big Brother Prehistoric by pressuring the Celestial Court to hand over the ultimate treasure that the Celestial Court had obtained from the Emperor Road's ultimate land. The golden turtle progenitor is just a little turtle. In the future, I'll beat him until he kneels and calls me daddy." Bao Cai spat out angrily. The Big Brother Prehistoric that they revered was called Little Brother by the golden turtle progenitor. This incident had left a shadow in their hearts. Su Yan's eyes flashed coldly. His aura surged as he said coldly, "You suffered a loss in the pinnacle battlefield. If you want to get back at us, then let's see who's stronger." He clenched his fists, and his aura became even more terrifying. The crueler the Emperor Road's contest was, the more exciting Su Yan's battle blood was. What a strong belief. Zhu Yao was a little shocked. Su Yan's belief was too strong. It seemed that the battle with Daozu did not affect his Dao heart. He was looking forward to the Emperor ranking contest in the future. He believed that Su Yan and the others could reach new heights. Chapter 1672. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, another year and a half had passed. The undying heavenly domain was in turmoil. Old monsters who had not shown themselves for a long time would appear from time to time. They stared at the Heavenly Sun region with gloomy expressions. The collapsed Heavenly Sun region used to be the Heavenly Sun Sect's territory. However, it was now listed as the world's #1 forbidden zone. Moreover, the entire ruined region had entered a sealed state. More than a dozen Daozu experts had used their strongest methods to set up a super powerful sealed space. In fact, since the end of the battle at the Heavenly Sun region, some supreme experts from distant regions had come to pay attention to the Heavenly Sun region. They wanted to see the place where the Daozu fought and perhaps gain something from it. The path of the Daozu was too difficult. Even if there were supreme experts trying to break through the Daozu realm, the failure rate was very high. They had to face the danger of death at every turn. What happened? They were shocked. The Heavenly Sun region had been sealed. What happened? The final battle 2 years ago had ended, and the world was shaken. After all, there was no clear victor. On the other hand, the Xian people had suffered heavy losses. 2 Daozu experts had fallen, and 2 major orthodoxies had been destroyed. This had caused a huge commotion. The battle had already reached this stage, but there was still no clear victor. The victor would have to be decided by the younger generation's battle. No one thought that the Celestial Court could win. It was too difficult to get 3 seats. Currently, only the young Devil King was in the peak state of the Celestial Court. He could devour the entire Emperor Road. Although he had left the Emperor Road and disappeared for several years, his prestige was still there. But now, as Saint Little Golden Turtle and the other progenitors stepped into the Emperor Road, the young Devil King seemed to have disappeared from the face of the earth. The Celestial Court had also quieted down. One should know that the top 100 competition was about to begin. Could the Celestial Court really win in this state? Things are not that simple. A quasi-Daozu expert was observing the sealed Heavenly Sun region. He could vaguely see some clues and said, "If my guess is right, I wonder what will happen in the future." The Heavenly Sun region was listed as the #1 forbidden zone. One could imagine how shocking it was. No one dared to step into the forbidden zone. If they were discovered, they would be killed by the experts who had cast the seal. This matter was too great, and the effects were too shocking. Even after such a long time had passed, there was still no sign of peace. On the contrary, in the immortal heavenly domain, the sleeping primal ancestors would often come out of seclusion, causing the atmosphere in the cultivation world to become more and more oppressive. However, on this day, something big happened in the immortal heavenly domain, and it shook the world again. Unbelievable! Countless powerhouses from various continents raised their heads and stared at the outer space. It was a distant area of nothingness that was boundlessly vast and deep to the point it was impossible to touch. No one knew exactly how vast the space was, and even an expert like Daozu found it extremely difficult to look down upon it. Right now, in a certain location in the void, the light of time was shining brightly. What seemed to be terrifying ancestral matter streaked across the sky, tearing apart the darkness. Among them, there was a figure standing above millions and millions of blazing flames. He was sublimated to the extreme, illuminating millions and millions of miles away. Moreover, he released boundless and resplendent holy light, resplendent to the extreme. Boom! Chi and blood surged. Immortal flames surged in millions and millions of strands, incinerating the world. Even the void was evaporated, turning into a great black hole in the universe. Terrifying radiance rose from it, as if it represented the pinnacle of the immortal Tao. The might of the great Tao was vast to the point of making one feel suffocated. Heavens, how can this be? The expressions of the various immortal orthodoxies and the various sect masters changed drastically. They tried to stare at the figure in the outer space, but were suppressed by the vast might. They trembled and found it difficult to raise their heads. Roar! The ancient Xian people's roars split the heavens. The Xian people's sect master stood up high. Among the immortal orthodoxies, endless flames of anger surged. He glared angrily at the powerhouse in the outer space. His hair danced wildly, as if he had gone mad. He was unwilling, too unwilling. Endless humiliation even filled his chest, prompting him to roar at the sky. Even his eyes were erect. On the contrary, the powerhouse in the outer space became more and more brilliant. Boom! In the end, billions of flames resonated, giving rise to wisps of supreme divine might that swept across the universe, shaking the continents one after another. The aura soon became boundlessly terrifying, drowning the sea of stars. Xianqingrong. In the ancient land of the Xian people, an ancient mountain cracked open, and a figure with withered skin walked out. He was unbelievably old, but his pupils were like two golden lamps, captivating one's soul. Fifth senior brother. The Xian people's sect master suppressed the anger in his heart and bowed to him. Humph. The fifth disciple of the Xian people's ancestor snorted coldly. It was earth-shattering, terrifying, and invincible. Vaguely, a supreme aura appeared. The Xian people were shocked. The grand ancestor who had been sleeping for a long time had awakened. He was the fifth disciple of the Xian people's ancestor. Unfortunately, Daozu failed to break through and suffered serious internal injuries. He still couldn't recover. However, his strength was also extremely shocking. He was a quasi-Daozu. You've been a disciple of the ancestor for a long time, but you've been surpassed by a remnant of the celestial court. How shameful. His tone was cold, and he didn't leave any face. I'll take over the sect master for you temporarily. I'll give you 100 years. If you can't step into Daozu's realm, don't come out of the mountain in the future. I'll follow senior brother's orders. Xianqingrong was boiling with anger. 100 years later, I'll stand in the Nine Cauldrons continent and break through Daozu's realm. I'll wash away my shame. The fifth disciple of the Xian people's ancestor had a cold expression. The world had been silent for 1,000,000 years, while the Xian people had been glorious for 1,000,000 years. The Daozu's realm required great perseverance and courage to break through. Similarly, one had to endure the cruelest test. One had to stand above all life in the universe and look down on the world. If one died and their supreme Dao fruit turned to ashes, the supreme Dao fruit was already high and mighty, looking down on the world. Although they weren't giants like Daozu, people like them were shocking enough. If there wasn't enough pressure, they wouldn't break through so easily. Wash away our shame. The Xian people roared. Anyone from the celestial court could break through. However, Yin Emperor was different. She had fought with the Xian people's sect master for more than 100,000 years. She had even been defeated by the sect master before. But now, Yin Emperor was a woman, and she was breaking through Daozu's realm. This was like a bloody slap to the Xian people's faces. The entire immortal celestial domain was in an uproar. Yin Emperor, a super-wanted criminal, had broken through Daozu's realm. This was a shocking event. The prehistoric Big Brother was personally protecting Yin Emperor. Yin Emperor had just broken through Daozu's realm. However, Yin Emperor was still young and could go further in the future. Is the Celestial Court doing this on purpose? Are they stalling for time? Someone whispered, are they giving up on the Celestial Court to buy time for them to breathe? Yin Emperor breaking through, who would have thought? Someone said in shock, it's really inconceivable. In short, this event was too big. The Xian people's ancestors felt like they had been slapped in the face, causing a storm. Yin Emperor, you bastard. What if we give you more Daozus from the Celestial Court? Some of the giants said angrily, in the Emperor Road battlefield, your tribe's younger generation is finished. What hope do you have to fight us in the future? Now, they had to admit that the Celestial Court had gained a foothold in the immortal celestial domain. However, the Emperor Road was the standard to measure the strength of a tribe. There were many Daozus in the Emperor Road in the past. This generation was the strongest in the Emperor Road. Perhaps there would be more than one Daozu in the future. At the same time, the primogenitors of the ancient races in the sealing heaven realm unleashed their killing intent. They wanted to kill the Flaming Emperor, just like how they killed Azure Dragon. Unfortunately, Azure Dragon survived and stepped into Daozu's realm, becoming the second ancestor of the Celestial Court. If they were to attack, they would definitely be able to kill Yin Emperor. However, due to special reasons, the ancestors' experts were forbidden from fighting. If they were to attack now, it would be like slapping their own faces. Their hearts were filled with anger. One of the giants said coldly, in the Emperor Road battle, destroy the Celestial Court and destroy their hope. We obey the ancestors' decree. One by one, the prosperous immortal orthodoxies were shaken. One of the honorables shouted, The birth of the ancestor's bloodline will shatter all legends in the Emperor Road and break all records of extreme combat power. We will be here to prove it. More than a dozen ancient immortal orthodoxies let out the sound of the great Tao. It was inexplicably terrifying. Because of the terrifying killing intent, they rushed towards the Emperor Road. Scary, this is too scary. Tai Baokai was so scared that her face turned green. Yin Emperor had become even stronger. If he knew what he did, he would probably beat her up for 3 years. She tried her best to please Bamboo Moon. She carried her and ran around the world to watch Yin Emperor's breakthrough. Countless lightning bolts had already struck. This was the most terrifying heavenly tribulation. Daozu's heavenly tribulation. With Big Brother Prehistoric protecting her, Yin Emperor would be able to pass through it safely. I really didn't expect this. Even Zhu Yao was shocked that Yin Emperor would suddenly step into the realm of Daozu. That meant that there were now 3 Daozu in the Celestial Court. Azure Dragon, Yin Emperor, and Big Brother Prehistoric, including Old Man Tianyang and Progenitor Tianzhu, a total of 5 Daozu experts. Although there was still a huge gap between the Celestial Court's heyday and the Celestial Court's prosperity, the current Celestial Court already had enough authority in the immortal heavenly domain. The vast heavenly tribulation lasted for 3 days and 3 nights before it finally calmed down. No one knew what the outcome was, and no news was leaked. In short, everyone believed that another Daozu expert had appeared in the immortal heavenly domain. Heavenly Star, a pure land in the mortal realm. Suyin is about to break through. That pervert is about to step into the 8th heaven of the true immortal realm. Baokai screamed. In the Hall of Space-Time Insight, an extremely dense wave of true immortal energy was rising. 7 stages of the road of immortal ascension appeared consecutively. The moment the 8th stage opened, a terrifying wave of life energy surged out. The aura of the figure sitting in the heavenly source serum also became stronger. Suyin let out a low roar. His body was like an immortal king being reborn. Thick light of essence blood shot out from his pores. Break! Suyin roared, and his aura surged by a lot. In the past 2 years in Heavenly Star, he had broken through 2 stages. He was only a step away from the 9th heaven of the true immortal realm. Then, the Daoyuo Road was infinitely close to Suyin. Boom! At the same time, a vast rain of reincarnation light rose from the rolling black fog of the underworld. Accompanied by the supreme reincarnation rules and order, it destroyed the sea of stars, turning this vast land beyond the heavens into a world of reincarnation. Inside, gods and ghosts wept. The great Tao wailed. It was as if the heavens were crying. Outside the heavens, a drifting rain of blood was falling. The scene was quite frightening. It was as if the end of the universe was approaching, and the universe was being suppressed. The experts in the distant great continents felt their scalps tighten. They felt that a great disaster was about to befall them. The phenomenon that appeared in the sky above the underworld had a far-reaching effect. It swept across one great continent after another, and it was suspected that Daozu creatures were dying. Heavens, is the supreme Daozu dead? Who did it? Is it the Celestial Court? Are they going to break the rules set previously? Thousands of sects were in an uproar. The aura that surged out from the underworld was too shocking. It was suspected that Daozu had died, and it caused a shocking storm. Chapter 1673. The changes in the underworld caused a huge commotion in the undying heavenly domain. The rain of reincarnation light rained down from the sky, sweeping across one continent after another. It was suspected that supreme beings were dying. In the end, the world saw a herb withering, causing a shocking phenomenon. The world was dyed in blood, as though the heavens were crying. Heavy rain fell, and the scene was extremely cruel. The withering of the reincarnation herb was the source of the peak war, which caused a series of major events. Now, a blazing figure accompanied the withering reincarnation body. His body became much more terrifying, and ancient reincarnation radiance surged out from him. It was as though the strongest reincarnation body in the world was reborn. What extravagance! Daozu experts were shocked. The reincarnation herb was withering just like that, and its medicinal efficacy was depleted. It was swallowed by a young man and nurtured into an extremely terrifying physique. Was he going to evolve into a reincarnation body? What was a reincarnation body? It was comparable to the first generation, the most terrifying reincarnation body in history. Not only that, the phenomenon in the underworld became even more terrifying. The Lord of the Underworld personally protected the reincarnation body, using his own Daozu bloodline to cleanse the reincarnation body's flesh, causing him to become even more shocking. The great Tao of reincarnation filled the sky, forming a scene of heaven and earth collapsing. Roar! The reincarnation body of the underworld roared, shaking heaven and earth. The ancient reincarnation radiance spread out from his body, and there was a terrifying pressure of the great Tao. It was vast and boundless, drowning the universe and the starry sky. It was as though it was about to rush into the grand heavenly realm. What kind of terrifying energy was this? The true immortals in the underworld were trembling. They felt that this was the roar of a grand heavenly realm expert. How could they resist it? The reincarnation body was blazing, and it was filled with a huge energy ripple. It suppressed the experts of the underworld, causing them to tremble in fear. At this moment, they caught a strand of unparalleled aura from the reincarnation body. It was terrifying beyond compare. At the same time, the young kings of the underworld sighed. The future sect master of the underworld would be the reincarnation body of this generation. They had all lost their hopes of becoming the successor. Young Devil King, I really have to thank you. The reincarnation body's divine might was world-shocking. He obtained a great opportunity. This stock of reincarnation medicine that didn't have much medicinal strength left was completely devoured by him, nourishing his reincarnation body and strengthening it a step further. He really felt that when the reincarnation body grew to its peak state, he could look down on everything and suppress all enemies of the same generation. The belief of the reincarnated flesh was incredibly strong. He had the confidence to compete with the 9 Heavens Supreme ranking. It was an unstoppable trend. The changes in hell had shaken the world. The ultimate precious medicine had evolved into the strongest battle constitution, the reincarnation physique. In the future, an invincible existence would emerge from the Emperor's Road. Although he wasn't the primogenitor's son, at this moment, he was more like the primogenitor's son. The eyes of the reincarnated body were filled with murderous intent. It was as if he had seen through the boundless world and saw the Emperor's Road, where the young Devil King was hiding and cultivating in seclusion. At the same time, Heavenly Star Continent. Su Yin had broken through and stepped into the 8th heaven of the true celestial realm. His aura was unprecedentedly strong, and 8 stages of the road of heavenly ascension appeared one after another, filling the air with extremely grand waves of energy. The energy stored in his body was vast, and the chi and blood radiating from his physical body were intense and domineering. In the past year, Su Yin had consumed a huge amount of resources. He had eaten Supreme Being flesh all day long to strengthen his flesh shell. It would be strange if his improvement wasn't shocking. In fact, according to the normal speed, it would be more difficult to cultivate in the later stages of the true celestial realm. It would take 100 years to reach the 8th heaven from the 7th heaven. However, Su Yin had only spent a year and a half to do it. His physical body was ridiculously strong. It leaked out a terrifying aura. At this moment, the heaven and earth trembled. Su Yan's strength was too shocking. The entire Heavenly Star Continent was shaking. Boom! The mountains and rivers resonated with Su Yan's breathing. His physical body was ridiculously strong. His precious body was steaming with the light of the 10,000 gods and demons. It was as if the strongest battle constitution in the world was resonating. It shattered the starry sky, and it shook the great stars in the universe. Freak! Bao Kai was speechless. Su Yan's flesh shell was too domineering. Under the stimulation of the reincarnation body, he had evolved a lot. Now, after a long period of cultivation, Su Yan's physical body seemed to have reached perfection. It emitted the heavenly power of the 10,000 gods and demons, collapsing the entire sky. Su Yan was like a celestial venerable looking down on the world. He stood tall, and the atmosphere of the world was suppressed to the extreme. The 10,000 gods and demons appeared one after another behind him. Even Su Yan's physical body was shining. It was enough to resonate with shocking battle strength. In the end, his physical body, immortal energy, and primordial spirit all recovered at the same time. His aura was terrifying by a lot. Eighth heaven, true, celestial. Su Yan clenched his fists. He felt that he was too powerful. He was only a step away from becoming a true celestial. Now, the spring of life in Heavenly Star was about to dry up. In the past year, Baokai and Bamboo Moon had improved a lot. Their strength had stepped into the seventh heaven of the true celestial realm. This had a lot to do with the spring of life in Heavenly Star. Su Yan sealed the spring of life so that it would not affect Heavenly Star's rivers and mountains. The great Luo golden immortal fruits were also close to ripening. In order to speed up the cultivation, Zhu Yao had spent at least a few million kilograms of immortal Dao stones to buy a large amount of medicinal soil to accelerate the ripening of the great Luo golden immortal fruits. Endless medicinal soil burned, and spiritual essence surged, drowning the great Luo golden immortal tree. Under the terrifying accumulation of resources, the three great Luo golden immortal fruits were shining brightly. The medicinal aura was rich, and they were about to complete their final transformation. It's really the heart of eternity. In the Yong family's ancestral land, the Yong family's ancestral land surged with the eternal, inextinguishable light day by day, affecting the hearts of the people. The battle of the strongest in the Emperor Road was about to begin. The major forces were paying close attention to the movements of the major forces. Zhu Yao was one of the young geniuses who had returned from the Emperor Road. Someone learned about a precious immortal stone, and it caused a huge commotion. This was one of the main ingredients for refining the Grade 9 Life Essence Evolution Liquid. Its value was unimaginable, and it could be said to be a priceless item. For a long time, the number of times the Grade 9 Life Essence Evolution Liquid was refined in the undying heavenly domain could be counted with one hand. No one was willing to give one of the main ingredients for the Grade 9 Life Essence Evolution Liquid to their disciples. Some people thought that the Yong family was crazy. In order to participate in the final battle of the Emperor Road, they even took out the Heart of Eternity to evolve their clan's eternal divine body. The legend is true. The Supreme Holy Maiden of the Sovereign Sect has a born Taoism body. Another piece of news shocked the myriad of sects and the entire world. No one had expected that the Sovereign Sect had concealed it so deeply. The Sovereign Holy Maiden actually possessed the natural Tao physique of legend, and this was an invincible physique that surpassed the ages. Even the Supreme Holy Maiden's enemies were terrified. They didn't expect her to have the born Taoism body. Her physique was hidden too deeply. Only today did people discover the Supreme Holy Maiden's true combat strength. Is Daozu of the Sovereign Sect crazy? He's helping the Supreme Holy Maiden to evolve with the Supreme Order laws. The world was shocked. This matter caused a huge commotion. The entire Sovereign Sect was sealed off as if they were facing a great enemy. There were billions of great Daos in the sect, and the Supreme Order laws were boiling as they entered the Supreme Holy Maiden's body. Do you know what the Born Taoism body is? This is a physique nurtured by the heavens. It can encompass all great Daos, including Daozu's Supreme Order laws. It can be included in her body and be refined into useful energy to strengthen her Born Taoism body. The world was in heated discussion. The Supreme Holy Maiden had become a popular candidate for the top 3 on the Emperor rankings. Some people felt that these flourishing immortal sects had really put in a lot of effort. They didn't have a first-generation ancestor, but they were able to nurture a peerless genius who wasn't inferior to the first-generation ancestor. It could be seen how glorious the emperor rankings were in this era. There are also people who felt that this was related to the emperor rankings' final battle a million years ago. They wanted the strongest disciple of their clan to step into the final battle and find out what had happened a million years ago. Perhaps they could obtain a heaven-defying fortune. What ancient physique has appeared again? There are billions of auspicious lights in the eternal province, and a terrifying pressure of time is faintly spreading. The eternal clan, an ancient clan, attracted a lot of attention. The commotion was too great. It was as if a living being that had been sleeping for a long time had been awakened. It was as if the boundless Daozu's aura had descended, and a terrifying corpse was burning brightly. This is crazy. The flourishing world was in an uproar. Some of the giants sensed that the most ancient living being of the eternal clan had broken the seal. Although it was already dead and withered, the essence of Daozu in its body was helping Jin Tiangang evolve his supreme, indestructible body. The flourishing world was in a storm. The strongest era had truly arrived. All kinds of terrifying physiques had appeared, and they were all standing at the most shocking level to compete for the top 10 positions on the Emperor rankings. The Celestial Court is really sad. They only have one young Devil King in their clan. Although they dominated the Emperor rankings final battle a few years ago and had few rivals, the situation has changed greatly now. It's difficult to even get one spot, let alone 3. Yeah, everyone knows that the young Devil King has an indestructible body. However, this physique belongs to the Eternal Clan. The clan is using their ultimate resources to nurture him. Perhaps it has something to do with the young Devil King having an indestructible body. Some people sighed, feeling sorry for the Celestial Court. 3 months later, the Emperor Rankings final battle rumbled as tens of thousands of Emperor Rankings final battle lit up the sky. The Emperor Rankings final battle filled the entire Emperor Rankings final battle. Rumble. From this moment on, the Emperor Rankings final battle began. 100 ancient space-time roads suddenly appeared in the depths of the third stage, revealing an everlasting heavenly might that swept across the entire Emperor Rankings final battle. One could vaguely see that in the depths of 100 ancient space-time roads, terrifying figures stood one after another. They were glorious and had once shocked the world a million years ago, becoming the strongest 100 experts in the entire universe. The top 100 battle has begun. Countless people were shouting and yelling. Their emotions were about to explode. The top 100 battle was the place where the true sky prides rose. The vast Emperor Rankings final battle emitted a monstrous flame of war, burning fiercely. The storm was so vast that it blotted out the sky and covered the sun. Young kings from all walks of life were rising. The King Rankings final battle would determine the top 100. Only then would they be qualified to step into the ultimate place of creation and compete for the top 10 positions. The top 100 battle has finally begun. In a land of heavenly star, the figure that had been silent for several years suddenly stretched out his limbs. His entire body surged with a vast divine power that shocked the heavens and earth. In front of his majestic appearance, the world seemed insignificant. Heavenly Star could not bear his weight. It was as if he had stepped into the grand heavenly realm and swallowed the universe. Suyan's black hair danced in the wind. His eyes were cold as he looked at the entrance of the Emperor Rankings final battle. It was as if he had crossed the heavens and space and seen one terrifying enemy after another. In this chaotic world where the King Rankings final battle, there was only one supreme. I didn't stop when I was driving yesterday and drove the wrong way twice on the highway. I want to cry. Looks like I can't race when I write books in the future. Chapter 1674. 100 ancient roads of time and space stood at the end of the third stage of the Emperor Road, radiating with endless glory. Up until now, there were only 100 rankings in the Emperor Road. One could only imagine how intense the competition was. There were no restrictions in this stage, So once the competition began, it would be even more intense than the competition between 10,000 strong contenders. Boom! A storm of prosperity swept across the entire Emperor Road battlefield. It's starting. The top 100 competition, the 100 strongest Ingia in the universe. Billions of living beings roared and cheered. Who wouldn't want to be one of them? Countless sky prides roared into the sky, exuding a terrifying aura. Their ferocious fighting spirit filled the air. They were determined to get into the top 100. They had been waiting for this moment for a long time. Even the orthodoxies behind them had been waiting for this moment for a long time. This was the moment to make a name for themselves. This was the moment to bring honor to their ancestors. The emperor rankings of each generation measured the number of sky prides in this era. From this moment on, the flames of war in the Emperor Road threatened to crush the entire Emperor Road. The top 100 competition had begun. It was also the most brutal battle in the Emperor Road. The competition between the strongest of the younger generation instantly became a billion times more intense. It's starting. In the outside world, the old antiques of various races were excited, especially those who had lived for 1,000,000 years. They could still remember the last Emperor Rankings competition. It made their blood boil. Boom! The golden treasure ground trembled violently. The boundless earth collapsed, and the sky was torn apart. Too many people rushed into the battlefield, wanting to be the first to enter the ancient roads of time and space. Even if they didn't have the confidence to participate in the top 100 competition, these 100 ancient roads of time and space still contained great opportunities. This was because this road was also known as the Daluo Road's Passage Pass. Usually, even if one made it into the top 100, some would not be able to enter the Daluo Road. However, there were also many losers who broke through because of the Daluo Road contained in the ancient roads of time and space. It was a cruel ending. How terrifying. Everyone in the universe was terrified. The weak true immortals were trembling in fear. Too many young battle monarchs rushed into the ancient roads of time and space. Along the way, the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon wailed. Their essence, chi, and spirit were so strong that it made their peers tremble in fear. Roar! A roar that shook the universe exploded. A giant vicious beast with boundless vitality, as tall as the heavens and the earth, with a majestic and sturdy flesh shell that towered into the starry sky, and its gigantic feet that could be compared to a mountain range, rumbled as it landed on the ground, raising a cloud of dust into the sky. There were also quite a few cultivators who were trampled to death. This was a heavenly beast that came out, and its roar shook the starry skies. Young Devil King, I'll be waiting for you on the 37th ancient path. If you have the guts, then come. I'll chop off your head and grind your bones to ashes. His roar was like thunder, spreading far and wide, shaking the chi and blood in the group of heroes, causing them to almost fall to the ground. This was a heavenly beast whose strength reached the heavens. It was known as a supreme being, and its aura was as majestic as the sea. The blood and chi energy in its flesh shell was too vigorous and frightening. Its eyes were filled with bone-piercing, killing intent. The medicine of reincarnation was vying for supremacy, and the clan's progenitor almost lost his life. The life essence in his body was stolen by the stealing heaven technique, and he was nearing the end of his life. The Heavenly Beast clan had very few descendants to begin with, and as the strongest member of the younger generation of the Heavenly Beast clan, he unleashed his heaven-devouring wrath, wanting to kill the young Devil King and wash away his humiliation. The world was in chaos, and the 100 ancient paths of time and space stirred up a flourishing storm. One after another, the peak stage, Ingia, went on in batches, all wanting to be the first to step onto the ancient paths of time and space. Along the way, there were also peak stage battles that broke out and carried out terrifying collisions. Without a doubt, there were already people who died tragically on the way to the entrance of the top 100 competition. Boom! During this process, the 100 ancient paths of space-time became even more magnificent and shocking. They were enlarging like numerous, boundlessly enormous battlefields, and they surged with the terrifying might of the Grand Tao, and surged with the boundless divine energy of an all-heaven immortal. It was like 100 invincible zenith heavenly paths, peerless and terrifying, burning with the flames of immortal Tao order, dazzling and overflowing into the sky. Kill! It was a terrifying journey. Tens of thousands of geniuses charged, shaking the mountains and seas, and the sun and moon wailed. The invincible Ingjia appeared frequently, and all kinds of terrifying battle constitutions appeared one after another. No one would continue to hide their strength, and they would use their strongest battle power to occupy the top 100, killing their way to the ultimate land of fortune. According to legends, in the ultimate land of fortune, there were rare treasures that were difficult to cultivate even in the universe epic. There was a legendary dojo. There was a shortcut to pass the Daozu path, and there was also a peerless cave that could forge a zenith heavenly golden immortal. In short, everything was for the ultimate land of fortune, and only then would the top 100 be qualified. Young Devil King, I've been looking forward to your head for a long time. The reincarnated body had arrived, and compared to the calm, the path he walked was overshadowed by the 100,000 geniuses, and no one dared to stand out and compete with him. He was already known as the world's most outstanding overlord, able to compete with the primogenitor's bloodline, and had great confidence in the future to contend for the top 3 on the monarch ranking. I really hope the first Supreme will come out soon. Once the top 100 competition ends, we won't be able to enter anymore. The Xian people's geniuses growled. Their eyes were burning with the flames of war, hoping the first Supreme will come out soon. They had already received news that the Xian people's primogenitor had already made his move. Although the first Supreme of the Xian people was still trapped in the divine furnace of heaven and earth, they believed that when he came out, the whole world would tremble. In this world, in this Emperor Road, only one invincible Supreme of heaven and earth could be born, the Supreme of the monarch ranking, respected by billions of geniuses. This was the ultimate goal of the Xian people, and only by killing the Supreme of the monarch ranking could one be called invincible in this era. Even in such a prosperous era, he would most likely be known as the first in history. This was great fortune and great fortune. Who would end up with this flower of fate? A few years ago, the Emperor Road belonged to the young Devil King. I wonder who will it belong to next? The Supreme Saintess had arrived, her beauty peerless, her temperament noble, and her snow-white jade feet stepped on the void. She no longer concealed her physique, and a vast aura of the great Tao flowed around her, causing people's hearts to tremble. This stunning woman, ever since the news of her born Taoism aptitude leaked out, had been known as the world's #1 female genius. Boom! Gods and demons roared, fighting in the heavens. Terrifying celestial phenomena covered the Emperor Road battlefield, and the entire golden treasure trove shook violently. The aura of powerful cultivators surged endlessly, forming a raging sea. One after another, the ancient roads of time and space surged with murderous light, splitting the sky. Get lost. Suddenly, the first ancient road of time and space surged with bloody light, and human heads flew everywhere. A large number of powerful cultivators fell, and mountains of corpses and seas of blood filled the sky. The murderous aura was too strong, and it shook people's hearts. Who is it? How majestic! Someone exclaimed, and all eyes were on the first ancient road of time and space. Although there were 100 entrances to the battle of the top 100, very few people dared to fight for the first ancient road of time and space with such domineering means. In a sense, the first ancient road of time and space was the most terrifying seat in the battle of the top 100, and it was very valuable. Hundreds of true immortal realm cultivators were unscrupulous, slaughtering along the way. Someone said coldly, "How dare you come to the first ancient road of time and space? Don't you know what this road means? Trespassers will be killed without mercy." Kong Hong Mao, you're too bold. Although you're an expert on the top 10,000 list, what right do you have to say that? Someone was immediately furious. Many of his subordinates had died, and his eyes were red. He glared at Kong Hong Mao, and his words were like thunder from the nine heavens. His aura was also shocking. Kong Hong Mao was wearing a golden armor. His expression was cold, and his aura was becoming more and more oppressive. He said coldly, "Ignorant bastard, I'll fight you." Che Jingqi was furious because he was also an outstanding genius on the monarch list. Lightning surged all over his body, and his left and right hands rose at the same time, turning into giant lightning palms, and attacked Kong Hong Mao from all directions. Impudent! A soft shout exploded, and a huge yellow bell appeared in the blood-stained world. It shook with a rumble, and the true immortal realm cultivator who spoke trembled, as if his body was about to explode. "Who is it?" Che Jingqi was a little frightened. His trembling eyes looked at the distant land, and a figure shrouded in a divine aura walked over. It was so bright that even the sun paled in comparison. It was so bright that even the galaxy trembled. The onlookers trembled, and the experts on the distant ancient road of time and space all turned pale. This person was too terrifying. He came from the sky, and his aura was shocking. The sound from his mouth and nose shook time and space. His divine aura was like the sea, and it filled this world. The world was trembling at a speed visible to the naked eye, as if it couldn't withstand the pressure from his body. Moreover, he looked extremely divine. He wore a golden snake robe and descended on the first ancient road of time and space. Little golden turtle saint, so it's him. No wonder he went directly to the first ancient road of time and space. He's so confident and bold. Someone whispered with a shocked expression. This was the son of the golden turtle ancestor, the little golden turtle saint. He was known as the strongest bloodline of the golden turtle ancestor, and was also qualified to compete for the top 3 positions on the monarch list. His divine aura shocked the world. "Master, the young Devil King hasn't shown himself, and there's no news from any experts of the Celestial Court either." Kong Hong Mao had been following the little golden turtle saint for more than a year, and he was deeply impressed by his divine aura. He was full of respect for the legendary golden turtle ancestor. He walked forward and said, "The competition for the top 100 has begun. I didn't expect the Celestial Court to be so weak. It seems like they can't even get into the top 100, let alone the top 10. My father said that he should be the disciple of the strongest expert of the Celestial Court. He can't be underestimated." The little golden turtle saint's divine aura was vast and mighty. He said indifferently, "I hope he can come. I really want to meet him." Hearing this, Kong Hong Mao sneered. "Master, there's no need to praise him. In front of the golden turtle ancestor, the strongest expert of the Celestial Court is just a little brother. How can the young Devil King's identity and status be compared to the little saint's?" The little golden turtle saint didn't refute this. His body emitted a terrifying radiance, vaguely showing the supreme heavenly aura of a grand heavenly immortal. Kong Hong Mao lost his composure. He really felt that the little saint was about to step into the grand heavenly immortal realm. This person didn't stop and directly stepped into the ancient road of space-time. Whether Su Yin would come or not, the first place in the top 100 was his. "All of you stay here. Remember, if you find any traces of the Celestial Court, immediately report it. The rest of you, follow me and follow the little saint's footwork. We'll go and harvest the fortune." Kong Hong Mao waved his hand. More than 10 true immortal experts stayed outside, while the rest shouted excitedly. One must know that the competition for the top position in the ancient road of space-time was very fierce. However, with the little saint here, very few people would dare to step into the first ancient road of space-time. After all, one could comprehend the great Tao of heaven and earth in the ancient road of space-time. They might be able to step into the grand heavenly immortal realm in the future. In short, this group of people was excited. They felt that they had followed the right person. The little golden turtle saint went to the first ancient road of space-time. "It seems that this road will stop fighting," everyone exclaimed. Even in the outside world, Some of the big shots from various clans who saw the competition through the secret treasures of space-time were shocked. The primogenitor's son was indeed worthy of the title. Just based on his previous prowess, it was enough to suppress everyone. I haven't seen any experts from the Celestial Court. It seems like the Celestial Court will suffer a crushing defeat after the competition for the top 100 is over. The sect leader of the Sealed Heaven region said with a cold expression, if the primogenitor's son stepped into the battlefield, he would definitely be able to kill the young Devil King. The Emperor Road battlefield was turbulent. The 100 ancient roads of space-time were filled with endless battles. Young overlords frequently attacked Ingia, but there was no sign of the Celestial Court. Halt! The first ancient road of space-time belongs to the little golden turtle saint. Those who disobey will be killed without mercy. The first ancient road of space-time's entrance was boiling with killing intent. More than 10 true immortal experts had cold expressions. They were holding powerful weapons and were ready to unleash their strongest attack at any time to kill the experts who were rushing towards the first ancient road of space-time. Boom! Su Yan had arrived and was rushing towards the ancient road of space-time. His body was flowing with a terrifying aura that shot into the sky. Eventually, a terrifying killing intent filled the air. When he heard the little golden turtle saint's name, he let out a series of laughter. Little golden turtle, I'm here. His voice boomed and shook the heavens and the earth. The entire ancient road of space-time seemed to tremble. The figure rushing from afar instantly became extremely terrifying. His figure emitted a strong aura of vitality and forcefully plowed open a huge space-time crack. Soon it was dyed red with blood. A road that had been blocked directly exploded. Chapter 1675. 100 space-time paths appeared at the end of the horizon as if they were summoning the war kings of the world. Boom! The third stage of the Emperor Road stirred up a storm. Boundless battle aura surged and covered the heavens and the earth. The scene was shocking. One after another, invincible kings with imposing auras charged through the ancient road of time and space. Along the way, killing lights filled the sky and surged horizontally and vertically, forming a scene that could destroy the world. Kill! Bloody battles raged on in the ancient space-time paths. Millions of geniuses tried to charge in and enter the ancient space-time paths. After all, the ancient space-time paths were known as the Grand Immortal Path. Once they gained a foothold in it, there was hope for them to reach the Grand Immortal Realm. However, the Battle of the Top 100 contained great opportunities. According to the probability of passing the stages in the past, those who could gain a foothold in the ancient space-time paths would have their chances of reaching the Grand Immortal Realm increased by 20 to 30%, even if they did not fight for the top 100. Forget 20 to 30%, even 10% was enough to make the world go crazy. Grand Immortal experts were all Patriarch experts in the Immortal sections. Once they charged in, they would soar to the heavens. As long as they had enough resources and a series of secret medicines, they might be able to reach the Grand Immortal Realm in a few years. Although the Battle of the Top 100 was not as good as the ultimate land of creation, it was still a place where millions of geniuses hoped to reach the Grand Immortal Realm. If a bloody battle were to break out, it would shock the heavens and earth. Gods were weeping, devils were roaring. The bloody battle in the heavens. 100 space-time paths appeared at the end of the horizon. It was as if 100 universes were blooming. The battles outside were intense. Mountains of corpses and seas of blood could be seen. The kings stepped on the corpses of the universe as they charged into the ancient space-time paths. A group of people had already charged in. The ancient space-time paths were dyed in blood. The energy of the first ancient space-time path exploded. True immortal corpses were shattered one after another. The followers of the Saint Little Golden Turtle went on their way in despair. Before they could say a word, they were crushed by the terrifying figures who charged in along the way. The heavens and earth quieted down. An extremely oppressive aura bloomed, suppressing all enemies in the world. What a powerful existence. Who's the one who charged in? Even Cai Jingqi was terrified. He was one of the top 10,000 rankers on the monarch ranking. His talents were outstanding, and he had many followers. Initially, he was suppressed by Saint Little Golden Turtle, and his will to fight was greatly damaged. He wanted to leave the first path of time and space to fight for supremacy in other territories. But now, another terrifying figure had descended from the sky, carrying a domineering aura. Moreover, the words he spoke were like thunder from the nine heavens, rumbling in his ears and shaking his soul. Little Turtle, he felt a bit dizzy. Just how extraordinary was the Little Golden Turtle Saint's identity? He was the son of the world's most ancient creature, the Golden Turtle Primogenitor, the first generation of the Primogenitor. His power was world-shocking, but the person who came to kill him directly called him a little tortoise. This was an undisguised humiliation. Su Yan's long black hair danced in the wind as he rushed over. The scene was even more frightening than the collapse of heaven and earth. The battle blood that had been dormant in his body for many years was boiling, revealing a sky-splitting battle intent. He was peerlessly powerful, like an invincible demon god, illuminating the world. Young Devil King. Cai Jingqi's expression changed drastically. The invincible Devil King who looked down on the Emperor Road years ago, who had been dormant for many years, had appeared again today, directly attacking the first generation of the Primogenitor. This was shocking news, causing Cai Jingqi's hair to stand on end. Was the greatest battle about to begin? Was the young Devil King who had killed the Tongtian young master beginning to respond to the major immortal sex? In short, he had appeared with a terrifying aura and stepped into the first path of time and space. Devil King, please wait. I want to follow you. Cai Jingqi roared. In a short period of time, he had made up his mind to follow Su Yan into the first path of time and space to witness the most terrifying battle. Unfortunately, Su Yan had already entered the ancient path of time and space. Cai Jingqi's expression was uncertain, but after a moment of hesitation, he also rushed in, wanting to witness the great battle with his own eyes. I'm going to kill the heavenly beast. On the other side, the Baokai was extremely ferocious. The roar of a true dragon rumbled from within its flesh shell, shocking everyone. It directly entered the ancient path of time and space where the heavenly beast was. Su Yan did not need to do anything to kill it. Saint Little Golden Turtle was Su Yan's main target now. Bamboo Sunflower. I'm coming. Bamboo Moon steps were light, like a celestial saint walking above the sea of stars. She was graceful, elegant, and indescribably beautiful. She wanted to retrieve the heavenly bamboo primogenitor's roots and kill Bamboo Sunflower. The successors of the celestial court appeared one after another. Flame Emperor intercepted Fairy Zixia, who wanted to compete with the Grand Saintess. Although Fairy Zixia's combat strength was terrifying, the Grand Saintess was not easy to deal with either. They had to ensure that there were enough powerhouses to enter the top 100. Their goal was the final battle for supremacy. In the future, they would have to face the children of the primogenitor, including the reincarnated bodies who had obtained an extraordinary foundation. The task was extremely difficult. After all, if they wanted to obtain the top 3 seats, they were destined to be obstructed by the top 100 geniuses. Heavens, a peak true immortal great evil. Its life aura is too vigorous. What kind of living being is this? It's too strong. The people were shocked. They saw a prehistoric great evil with yin and yang qi gushing out of its mouth and nose. It barged into one of the ancient paths of time and space, intimidating the experts behind it. They did not dare to act recklessly. Long Daesung had come out of seclusion half a year ago. He stood at the peak of the true immortal realm and was in the true dragon 10th transformation. Its potential was unimaginable. I really want to witness the battle between the young people. In a certain ancient land, time and space were destroyed. Emperor's might filled the air, and an extremely grand primordial aura was released. An exceptionally tall and burly old man sat cross-legged in the middle. His body was surrounded by an indestructible aura. It was as if there were tens of thousands of supreme, great Tao imprints arranged themselves in his body. They rumbled, and in the special ancient celestial emperor's dojo, a vigorous, holy radiance surged. It caused the power of 10,000 tribulations to fuse. It was about to transform into a peerless holy body. The old leader sighed. He was already in the grand immortal realm, and was tempering his body as a grand immortal. Moreover, he had obtained a heaven-defying opportunity. He was destined not to compete for the throne of the Emperor Road. The ancient land was vast, and it was divided into several other realms. Among them, a kingdom of ice and snow collapsed. A woman in a fluttering white dress walked out. She had skin of ice and bones of jade. She was holy and peerless. The mother chi of heaven and earth radiated from her body. Accompanied by the grand chanting of the Mother Sutra, her might grew stronger and more powerful. Isi Yin respectfully bowed to Dao Shui as a disciple. Then, she descended the mountain and charged toward the battlefield of the Emperor Road's top 100, using the power of 10,000 scriptures to guide the Taiyin Mother Sutra. Although it's not complete, it's still powerful enough. Xianjun's corpse in front of Dao Shui shattered. His eyes looked at the battlefield of the Emperor Road's top 100 and said, "The buried heaven lineage has returned. The Emperor Road has opened for the final time. My mission is over." No one knew that this was the final battle of the Emperor Road. At the same time, it would also be refined to the extreme. It would burn away all of the inheritance land's foundation. This was indeed the most terrifying battle. The battlefield of the top 100 was a glorious battle. The battle was fierce and violent. In the hundreds of battlefields, hundreds of sky prides and overlords would be determined. They would fight for the throne of the Emperor Road's final destination and reap the fortunes. The outside world was also turbulent. It was difficult to calm down. Silence. This was the strongest battle of the Emperor Road. It had never happened before. In the past, it was already shocking enough that Daozu's son stood out. However, according to the major sects, there were at least dozens of Daozu's sons emerging. The battlefield of the Emperor Road was in turmoil. The 10,000 tunnels of the Emperor Road were occupied by various powerhouses. Daozu's aura was faintly discernible. Using the Supreme Order law, it reflected the situation of the hundreds of battlefields in the Emperor Road. At this moment, Su Yin entered the first ancient road of space-time, step by step. Su Yin was a little surprised by the situation inside. The entire ancient road of space-time was huge. It was grand and ancient. It had an immortal aura that came from ancient times. It was vast and endless. It was as if the world's strongest Daluo road had appeared here. As expected of the battlefield of the top 100, the Dao fruits here alone are enough to trigger the most tragic battle. Su Yin was shocked. If one cultivated here for a long time, the chances of stepping into the Daluo realm would be higher. This was the battlefield of the top 100. One should know that the Dao fruits had not appeared in the arena yet. It was already shocking enough. This was enough to prove that the ultimate reward of the top 100 battle was the descent of the supreme Daluo road and the baptism of the great Dao. It was very likely that a Daluo realm powerhouse would emerge before entering the final place of fortune. Who passed? Don't you know whose place of fortune this place belongs to? Su Yan's arrival caused the group to be furious. They all looked at Su Yan. Sage Little Golden Turtle had already entered the depths of the first ancient road of space-time. Along the way, many followers occupied various places of enlightenment and were ready to concentrate on cultivating. You guys go and inform Kong Hongmao to come and suppress this kid. We'll stop him first, someone shouted. He had a bad premonition. There were more than 10 true immortals guarding outside the first ancient road of space-time. Since this person could enter, it meant that his combat strength was extraordinary. Su Yan's expression was cold. He looked at the several true immortals who were rushing toward him. He waved his hand, and a wisp of great divine might bloomed. This group of people flew like scarecrows. They could not control themselves at all and were sent flying far away. They crashed into one mountain after another. What? This is too terrifying. Who is he? Everyone's heart trembled. What kind of barbaric strength was this? Although the true immortals cultivation realm was not high, they were sent flying in a single exchange. This kind of combat strength was too terrifying. Could it be that he was a saint's son expert of some immortal sect? This area was in chaos. Suyin pushed his way forward. His body was covered in resplendent radiance. The aura flowing in his body became more and more shocking. In the end, it affected the heaven and earth. The mountains and rivers were destroyed silently. Who dares to barge into this place? Don't you know whose territory this is? Wait here. Kong Hongmao received the news and rushed over. His aura was powerful. After all, he was in existence ranked in the top 10,000 on the monarch ranking. He rushed towards Su Yan. His entire body was surging with divine light. He took out his battle spear and rushed towards Su Yan. Kill! Su Yan roared. His courage was peerless. The entire first ancient road of spacetime was shaken by his roar. An invincible war god appeared in the sky. His enormous size covered the sky. His chi and blood pressed against the peak of the sky dome, giving birth to a world-destroying energy tide. Look at the first ancient road of space-time. Who is so domineering? Is he trying to destroy the first ancient road of space-time and end the Emperor's road contest in advance? The outside world was shaken. The old monsters of various races noticed that the first ancient road of space-time had undergone a huge change. The entire road seemed to be shaking. A terrifying figure rose from the ground and roared in the sky. The true immortals screamed in pain. Su Yin used his invincible combat strength and pushed his way through the first ancient road of space-time. His boundless battle intent surged into the depths of the ancient road of space-time, covering the sky and earth as he attacked Saint Little Golden Turtle. Chapter 1676. Golden chi and blood surged, drowning the starry sky, and then fell down, covering the sky. The entire first space-time path was covered by the dense light of chi and blood. It was as if millions of volcanoes were erupting at the same time, giving birth to a terrifying energy tide that covered the sky and the sun. Che Zhengqi was frightened, and his legs went soft. He had truly witnessed how powerful the young Devil King was. His body was peerlessly powerful. Could it be that he had also cultivated the strongest indestructible body? Su Yin, who was at 8th Heaven True Immortal Realm, was peerlessly powerful. His aura swallowed the entire battlefield, and his figure was so grand that it seemed to fill the world. Tens of thousands of mountains were wailing, and endless leaves were flying wildly. The world was filled with a demonic aura. Boom! Su Yin brandished his fist and charged forward. The atmosphere between heaven and earth was somewhat still. The surging fist aura caused everything to explode. Before the incoming heroes could be hit by the fist, they had already collapsed into balls of bloody light. Isn't this too terrifying? Che Zhengqi's scalp went numb. He was well aware of the young Devil King's strength, but he definitely didn't expect it to be at this level. Facing the sky full of true immortal experts, Su Shinran's move was simple and tyrannical. He wanted to kill with one punch. A large number of true immortals were dyed red in the sky. Their bodies exploded and blood scattered all over the ground. It was a shocking scene. The fist didn't crush them, and the enemies withered away. The world seemed to be bleeding, and the first space-time path also trembled. This was a thunderous sound that was blasted by the fist, and it spread far and wide. Roar! Kong Hongmao roared. He really did everything he could to release his most powerful strength. There was only one thought in his mind now, and that was to survive. He only had to wait for Saint Little Golden Turtle to arrive. Only then would he have a chance to save his life. The strength of the person attacking him had already made him despair. He crushed the enemies with one punch, and as the fist shone, it continued to grow stronger and more magnificent. It was as if it had the boldness to break through the first space-time path. Boom! In that instant, all things were destroyed. Su Yan's fist imprint was extremely world-shocking, splitting apart the entire space. blasting apart the immortal Tao laws that covered the sky, surging with unrivaled might. His fist struck Kong Hongmao. It was a frightening scene. Che Jingqi was extremely shocked. Kong Hongmao's battle prowess was about the same as his, but now he was facing Su Yan's powerful suppression. With a single punch, a bloody hole appeared in his flesh shell. With a single punch, the cultivator who was once ranked in the top 10,000 on the monarch ranking was brutally crushed. Blood splattered out from his chest, dyeing the ground red. The terrifying scene also shocked everyone in the world. There were tens of thousands of entrances in the outside world, and the experts of various races were entrenched, watching the battle between the top 100. Of course, this battle would not end in a short period of time, but now, the scene of the battle in the first space-time passage was a little frightening. A large number of true immortals died, and the number of experts on the Monarch board was about to wither away. In the world where gods and demons were dancing, a single figure swept through a group of enemies by himself, blasting apart the experts that filled the sky. It was as if he wanted to kill until the first ancient space-time path collapsed. Who is that person? Is the reincarnation of a martial god? An old monster let out a shocked voice. At this moment, Su Yan was shining brilliantly, his fist imprint unrivaled. The terrifying majesty seemed to have cut off the first ancient space-time path, as if announcing the end of this ancient space-time path. If there was a genius who single-handedly swept through a group of heroes, they wouldn't be surprised. However, Su Yan had killed a group of heroes with a single punch. The flesh shell of an existence ranked in the top 10,000 on the monarch ranking collapsed into a bloody hole. This was a great might that could kill everyone with a single punch. How could they not be shocked? How could they not tremble? The difference in cultivation level between the two sides was too great. They weren't on the same level at all. Even Su Yan's strength reached the heavens, surging into the depths of the first ancient space-time path, enraging an ancient creature. A pair of ice-cold eyes opened, and the world flickered between brightness and darkness. Saint Little Golden Turtle woke up. His ice-cold eyes looked down at the ancient space-time path, radiating with ancient vitality. Oh! The heaven and earth rumbled. The sun and moon lost their light. This rising creature's spiritual energy soared into the heavens. The sea of stars was in tatters, all caused by the terrifying energy in his body. Who is it? How dare you kill my follower without any mercy? Saint Little Golden Turtle was furious. He wore a long robe with golden serpents. His divine might was so great that even the mountains and rivers were shaking violently. He was the son of the Golden Turtle ancestor. His bloodline was superb. Even an existence ranked in the top 10,000 on the monarch ranking took the initiative to follow him. Needless to say, his father was known as the world's most ancient creature, even qualified to mediate between the celestial court and the Xian people's battlefield. His words held great weight in the immortal heavenly region. As for Saint Little Golden Turtle, his talents were superb, and his bloodline was powerful. He looked down at the first ancient space-time path and also saw Kong Hongmao's wounded face. He said coldly, "Spare his life, and I'll let you die with dignity." Kong Hongmao was the strongest general under his command, but his chest was pierced through just like that. If the news spread out, his prestige would be tarnished. Saint Little Golden Turtle was enraged. He walked step by step towards Su Yan's location. His golden figure became brighter and brighter. The golden robe he wore fluttered loudly. Vaguely, he emitted a prehistoric aura that suppressed the space-time path. "Master, save me!" Kong Hongmao was scared out of his wits. He frantically begged for help. But just as he crawled up and ran towards Saint Little Golden Turtle, Kong Hongmao's bloody body trembled violently. The bloody hole in his chest was filled with destructive energy, tearing his body apart, and soon his body was filled with cracks. Bastard! Saint Little Golden Turtle was furious. He was killed by a single punch, and his life source was also shattered. No! Kong Hongmao roared in grief. His life force was drying up, his body was crumbling, and even his Yuan Shun was on the verge of dissolving. He was truly in despair. he was killed by a single punch. He was an expert ranked in the top 10,000 on the Monarch ranking, but he died just like that. I can't accept this. I can't accept this. Kong Hongmao's body crumbled. His heart was filled with regret. If he didn't follow Saint Little Golden Turtle, he wouldn't have fallen into such a situation. He was unknowingly involved in the battle between the two factions, and even before he died, he didn't know who killed him, but it was definitely an expert from the Celestial Court. The scene of blood staining the sky made Saint Little Golden Turtle go crazy. He roared towards the sky, and countless cracks appeared in the sky. Boom! The vast territory trembled and collapsed. One could imagine how strong Saint Little Golden Turtle was. He was worthy of being the son of the progenitor. His eyes were filled with cruel, killing intent. He glared at Su Yin and shouted, "Who are you? Why are you asking so much?" Su Yin stood in the void, his long black hair hanging down. He said coldly, "You only need to know that I'm here to kill you. Bastard, give me your life." Saint Little Golden Turtle roared towards the sky. He was really angry. His roar was like thunder, shaking Che Zhengqi in the distance and making him lose his balance. He quickly retreated. The peak battle was about to start. It would be the most shocking battle on the Emperor Road. Once it started, the impact would be too great. "Get over here. I'll smash your turtle head." Su Yin was domineering. He took the initiative to attack, his figure crossing the void and rushing towards Saint Little Golden Turtle in an instant. Saint Little Golden Turtle was furious. His clan was called the Golden Turtle Clan. They were even rarer than true dragons, and it was extremely difficult for them to produce offspring. However, Su Yin called him a turtle, which completely hurt Saint Little Golden Turtle. This was a great disrespect to his clan. "Evil creature, you should kill all 9 generations of your clan." He let out a bone-chilling, murderous intent, his eyes bloodshot as he roared. "My clan was born in the era of creation. How noble and extraordinary our bloodline is, and our flesh is invincible. How dare you fight me in close combat?" He also attacked instantly, not willing to waste any time. He wanted to end things directly, and directly smash Su Yan's flesh shell into pieces. Boom! His flesh was filled with an ancient aura, faintly flowing with the aura of creation. In an instant, the light of blood chi surged, and he began to attack Su Yin. The heaven and earth changed dramatically, and a sea of blood was born. It was golden in color. There was no doubt that this clan had a long lifespan, and the vastness of their blood chi was unimaginable. It was like the roar of a grand Luo expert, causing the hearts of all beings in the universe to tremble. Even the old monsters watching from the outside were shocked. Wasn't the blood chi too vigorous and domineering? Some people even thought that this was the body of a grand Luo, true immortal, powerful and prosperous. Boom! Suddenly, a dull sound exploded. In the shocked eyes of the world, they saw Su Yin brandishing his fist. The fist's momentum was grand and peerless, intimidating the universe and starry sky. And in an instant, it smashed the light of blood chi that filled the sky. At the same time, Su Yin roared towards the sky, entering a state of battle. The blood in his body surged and boiled endlessly. He was now announcing to the world that the Celestial Court not only had the prehistoric Big Brother and the others, but also the younger generation had a war god that could sweep through everything, shattering all legends of invincibility. This was Su Yan's belief to be invincible in the world. Roar! Waves of low roars exploded, as if echoing from the ancient era, and in an instant, it surged 1,000,000,000 times more violently. In the exploding blood chi that filled the sky, a boundless killing scene evolved in an instant. Life forms were born one after another, giving birth to all kinds of supreme life forms. Accompanied by the burning of immortal Tao runes, the scene of 10,000 beasts coming out of their cages appeared with a rumble. Slash! Saint Little Golden Turtle roared angrily. This was a great divine ability that could shock heaven and earth, the power of 10,000 beasts. The legendary power of 10,000 beasts as expected of the golden turtle ancestor's son. This is an extinct great divine ability, and he's already using the Great Earth card. Che Jingqi trembled with fear. The scene in the first spacetime path had changed, as if they had entered a primordial age, the chaotic ancient era. 10,000 beasts covered the sky, and their pressure was enough to suppress everything. Is this a pinnacle showdown? He's already using the power of 10,000 beasts. The old monsters were shocked. Legend had it that this shocking secret technique was not inferior to the most powerful divine abilities in history. It had been extinct for quite a long time, so they didn't know how many levels of the power of 10,000 beasts the Saint Little Golden Turtle could erupt with. Suddenly, a terrifying aura bloomed, suppressing the entire continent. A supreme existence descended at the entrance of the Emperor's Road, and the ancient heavenly might was vast and mighty. It was as if an ancient creature was awakening, and the world was trembling like a tattered piece of paper. Some of the supreme beings present trembled, feeling as if their flesh and blood were about to explode. Without a doubt, this was the arrival of the Golden Turtle ancestor. He said coldly, "It can't be considered a pinnacle showdown. Who's the one making the move? Is it the disciple of the strongest person in the celestial court?" Although he didn't know what the prehistoric Big Brother's name was, he felt that he was very powerful. However, he felt that his little brother was indeed very strong. He just didn't know how many rounds his disciple could last in front of his own son. He also felt disdain. The young people of the celestial court are most likely crazy. They've just made a move, and they're already looking for the toughest bone to chew. They've really found the wrong target. Chapter 1677. The first space-time path had a shocking scene. Time seemed to have returned to the prehistoric times. Everywhere was filled with the roars of beasts. An unparalleled sense of oppression surged and filled the entire space-time. It was as if thousands of beasts had descended upon the world. Immortal Tao law order gushed out, and a monstrous, ferocious aura surged out. Legendary supreme beings appeared one after another. The legendary power of thousands of beasts reappeared in the Emperor Road battlefield. The sky was shattered, and all matter was shattered. "Kill!" Saint Little Golden Turtle roared. His eyes revealed a terrifying wildness. He was very confident in himself. No matter who it was, anyone who dared to stand out and fight him was destined to die tragically on the Emperor Road battlefield. Boom! The atmosphere between heaven and earth turned violent. The blood-red heavenly rock tore through the sky. The ancient thunder beast's roar shook heaven and earth. The immemorial azure dragon traversed the space-time. The vermilion bird spewed out endless divine flames. This was truly the scene of thousands of beasts breaking out of their cages. The scene between heaven and earth was shocking. This remarkable ability covered a vast area. It contained a grand layout and great boldness. Saint Little Golden Turtle continuously evolved it and charged towards Su Yin. Roar! Thousands of beasts pounced, splitting the heavens, the earth, the rivers, and the mountains. They were infinitely close to Su Yin. The astronomical phenomenon was frightening, and it made one's heart tremble. However, from the atmosphere and boldness, one could tell how fierce this slaughter was. Terrifying energy radiance scattered out. However, the figure standing in the middle was like an immovable supreme god-fiend. His flesh shell shone as if it was a living ancient scripture reciting the great Tao immortal scripture. It formed a magnificent scripture order. Su Yin stepped on the sky. His pores spewed out brilliant radiance that dispersed the immortal Tao. At this moment, Su Yan's remarkable ability was vast. He was like the supreme god-fiend that ruled all beasts. "Isn't this too domineering?" Che Jingqi cried out excitedly. He was stunned by the next scene. Su Yin did not move at all. The vast and mighty primordial strength of his physical body covered the sky and the sun, completely obliterating the 10,000 beasts. The scene that shocked the world caused a storm in the Golden Age. It must be the origin power. Who is this person? To be able to cultivate the beginning sutra of the celestial court to such a level, could he be the young devil king? The old antiques of every race were alarmed. The ancient celestial court's origin sutra was profound and unfathomable. It was rumored that the more powerful one's cultivation was, the more shocking one's grasp of the great Tao would be. Combined with the ancient celestial court's origin force, it could suppress 10,000 Taos. Sage Little Golden Turtle's expression was cold. No matter how strong the power of 10,000 beasts was, it was like a clay ox entering the sea. It was difficult to create a strong wave. Saint Little Golden Turtle coldly said, "Brat, I think you really don't know life from death. My clan's physical body is king. Since you don't want to fight with me, then I can only bully you and let you die an ugly death." After saying this, its body surged with a terrifying light of vitality that was like a vast ocean. It burned fiercely, and even the heavens collapsed. Boundless vitality gushed out from its body, and it began to leak out uncontrollably. Suyin was also incomparably terrifying. His heroic bearing shocked the world, and he was like a demon god that supported the heavens, overturning rivers and overturning seas. He was omnipotent. "I'll blow you up with 3 punches." Sage Little Golden Turtle rushed over and arrived in front of Su Yin in an instant. The most terrifying power was awakening, and it suppressed Su Yin. "Idiot!" Su Yin coldly snorted. The vitality in his body leaked out, and with a rumble, he attacked horizontally. The divine force in his body surged, and a terrifying battle prowess erupted unceasingly. He was like a demon god that had broken free from his domain as he attacked Sage Little Golden Turtle. Boom! A confrontation at the peak. The offensive power and physical strength of the two experts were enough to shock the world. Now, they were engaged in an intense battle on the first space-time path. Hand over your life. Sage Little Golden Turtle's killing intent was endless. He punched out with a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas. Soon, the starry sky was filled with terrifying energy that swept out in all directions. Chi was shocked. They were both too strong. Su Yin was also full of vigor. His fist was grand and shocking as he punched towards Sage Little Golden Turtle's fist. One had to know that he was the strongest descendant nurtured by the Golden Turtle ancestor. He was definitely not someone the son of a supreme being could compare to. His battle prowess was transcendent, and his offensive power was unparalleled. However, no matter how barbaric and berserk Sage Little Golden Turtle's power was, Su Yin was getting stronger and stronger. Roar! In the end, Su Yin faced the sky and roared. His disheveled hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were overflowing with killing intent. He was even more powerful and valiant now. He brandished his fist towards his opponent while shouting angrily, "Didn't you want to blow me up with 3 punches? I've given you a chance. Come." Su Yan's blood rushed into the heavens. His strength poured out in full force, tearing apart the starry sky and shaking the great stars in the sky. "I'll kill you." Sage Little Golden Turtle was also domineering enough. His entire being was filled with a world-shaking aura. His roar split the sky, and his fists were overbearing. Faintly, a terrifying tyrannical aura surged out and filled every inch of space-time. Tyrannical King Fist. He roared, wanting to destroy Su Yan's flesh shell with a single fist and destroy him. Su Yan brandished his golden fist and unleashed the cosmic fist. His entire body's blood and chi surged out and penetrated his fist. It was as if another Su Yan had appeared and was filled with a terrifying energy storm as it collided with the tyrannical King Fist. The two fists collided in a desperate attack. The world was dyed in blood, and a great explosion ensued. Roar! Sage Little Golden Turtle roared. The blood and chi in his body swelled, and his offensive power climbed continuously. However, no matter how strong his offensive power was, he still couldn't break through Su Yan's flesh. This caused his heart to tremble. Just where did this child come from? His flesh shell was also world-shocking. It was simply indestructible and difficult to break through. Tortoise Fist. Su Yan roared. His fist surged violently like a bolt of lightning that could shatter the darkness. His strength was peerless. He had practically used his most terrifying physical strength, and the scene of a true dragon collapsing appeared. Sage Little Golden Turtle's eyes were bloodshot. He let out a hysterical roar. At the same time, his arms glowed and evolved a world-shocking divine ability. It was as if a black tortoise armor covered his arms, blocking Su Yan's fists. Boom! The scene was somewhat tragic. Sage Little Golden Turtle's arms trembled violently, and the black tortoise armor was smashed apart. Terrifying energy ripples surged out and struck Sage Little Golden Turtle so hard that he couldn't stand steadily and was forced to retreat. What a disgrace! Sage Little Golden Turtle's blood and chi surged as he let out a furious roar. Being suppressed by a human in a physical confrontation was a great humiliation to the Golden Turtle race. Roar! Sage Little Golden Turtle faced the sky and roared. His figure became somewhat terrifying. His entire flesh shell flashed with dazzling runes. The runes were densely packed like tortoise shell runes. The instant they lit up and burned, the blood and chi in his body surged, rippling with a world-destroying power. Since you forced me to make a move, I will let you die a horrible death. He roared and rushed forward. The confrontation just now was a great humiliation to Sage Little Golden Turtle. It was difficult to endure. Kill! He roared. The berserk Sage Little Golden Turtle once again rushed towards Su Yan and clashed with him. Boom! A world-shaking collision filled the sky with destructive energy ripples. It destroyed the starry sky and sunk the boundless earth. It was as if layers upon layers of tsunamis were bombarding the world. The two great experts simultaneously shone with divine light as they fought with all their strength. Their offensive power was peerless as they engaged in close combat. The battle was also extremely tragic. Both of them had the determination to tear the enemy apart. It could be said that every punch saw blood. They fought until the sky collapsed and the earth cracked. The sun and moon sank. What a young Devil King. I really underestimated him. His immortal golden body has also been tempered to its strongest state. The Golden Turtle race's physical defense is almost invincible. How tyrannical is the young Devil King's flesh shell to be able to contend with it? The outside world was in an uproar. No one had thought that Su Yan would be able to fight with Saint Little Golden Turtle to such an extent. One had to know that they were fighting purely with their physical bodies. The first space-time path was trembling. Sage Little Golden Turtle's body was very strong. This was the strongest body Su Yan had encountered since his debut. Now, the two were fighting machines. They had fought for hundreds of rounds, but it was still difficult to determine who was superior. The main reason was that Sage Little Golden Turtle's defensive power was too outstanding. His entire body was densely covered in tortoise-shell runes, which gave rise to all kinds of unimaginable defensive power. He continuously blocked Su Yan's attacks into his flesh shell. Sage Little Golden Turtle felt humiliated. His physical defense was unparalleled under the heavens, but he was still moved by Su Yan again and again. Although he was not injured, he still felt that this was a great humiliation. Boom! The burning aura of his flesh shell became more and more intense. The tortoise shell runes were burning brighter and brighter. A terrifying tortoise vaguely appeared behind him. It surged with a terrifying tide of energy and suppressed Su Yan. The endless tortoise shell power whistled and attacked Su Yan's body, causing him to feel a stinging pain. But the more it was like this, the more Su Yan's battle blood boiled. His flesh seemed to have been ignited. It was burning fiercely with tens of thousands of runes. It was as if he was in the middle of a tsunami, suffering the most brutal, crushing, and fatal blow. Su Yan faced the sky and roared. Killing intent sputtered out of his eyes, cutting through the void. Under the stimulation of millions of layers of killing, Su Yan's ancient physique became resplendent. The dormant ancient physique was awakening and was being stimulated to come into being. The ancient potential of being buried in 10,000 bodies finally activated. Suyin excitedly roared. His aura was peerlessly terrifying. Boom! A punch came. The great era of gods and demons was approaching. Sage Little Golden Turtle's face turned pale. He did his best to defend and circulated the tortoise-shell runes to the extreme. In his domain, it was as if he was wearing a black tortoise armor. What's that? Chai Jingqi's hair stood on end. He saw tens of thousands of gods and demons filling the sky, including the strongest physiques in the world. They attacked together with Su Yan. Their movements were neat and uniform. It was as if the immortals and demons of the heavens had descended to suppress the universe. Kill! Su Yan roared. His fist was too terrifying. It was as if tens of thousands of gods and demons were attacking the sea of stars. Faintly, it flowed with a terrifying power to bury the world. With a rumble, it pierced through the tortoise-shell armor. The scene was too horrible to look at. Sage Little Golden Turtle's fist was torn apart and was on the verge of exploding. Puffed, his whole body trembled violently and blood spurted out of his pores. He was about to be killed by Su Yan's punch. What kind of physique is this? Sage Little Golden Turtle's hair was disheveled. He felt that he had stimulated Su Yan's ancient physique and said furiously, "Who are you? Who are you? How can you compete with the flesh shell of my golden turtle race? You admit that you're a turtle?" Su Yan said coldly. He was not satisfied. Sage Little Golden Turtle's stimulation was not strong enough. He had thought it through. Through the cruelest competition, he had stimulated the most terrifying potential of the ancient physique and fused it into one to cultivate the strongest physique. "You're courting death." Sage Little Golden Turtle's face was ferocious. He said furiously, "Bastard, do you think you've won? I'll let you know how strong the strongest physique is." It was roaring loudly as if it had gone mad. Boundless and terrifying killing intent was being emitted. "Get over here, and I'll smash your turtle head. I'll let you know who's the boss of the Emperor Road." Su Yan's expression was cold. He was filled with the belief that he was invincible. He wanted to sweep through the Emperor Road and become the supreme expert on the Emperor ranking. That was his current goal. Chapter 1678. The influential figures of the various clans were extremely shocked. The Golden Turtle clan was known for their invincible defense, but now they were suppressed by the young Demon King and were severely injured. How strong was the young Demon King's body constitution? Was it really just the immortal golden body? Unbelievable. The Celestial Court actually produced a king that could fight the progenitor's son. The young Demon King is really strong. He has a high chance of entering the top 10 of the monarch ranking in the future. Some people were speechless and shocked. Based on the current situation in Emperor Road, it was already impressive that the Celestial Court could produce a top 10 ranker. After all, this was the most terrifying era since the opening of Emperor Road. The battle between the top 100 was intense. Two heavenly beasts were fighting to the death, which subverted their thinking. Bao Kai was very arrogant. He used the art of shape-shifting to turn into a heavenly beast and entered the battle stage. To be honest, Ing Jief and the Heavenly Beast clan was dumbfounded. What was going on? Where did this heavenly beast come from? "Little brother, kneel down and greet your big brother." Bao Kai was very arrogant. Its words angered the heavenly beast, but it still tried to persuade it. "I advise you not to provoke me. You have the bloodline of the Heavenly Beast clan, but you don't have the ultimate skills of our clan. Are you a descendant of the bloodline that was exiled from the clan long ago? I suggest you return to the clan immediately. Otherwise, our clan will not allow other bloodlines to survive in the outside world." Bao Cai's body trembled, and it grinned. "Little brother, if I return to the clan and become the leader of the clan, I won't have much of a sense of accomplishment. Hurry up and kneel down and bow down to me. When I establish a new heavenly beast orthodoxy, Dali will naturally guide you." If the prehistoric Big Brother knew that Bao Kai used the art of 1,000 transformations to swindle people all day long, who knew what he would think? This secret technique did not only change the essence of a person's life, but it was also a way to attack unpredictably. "Bastard, The heavenly beast was enraged. Its entire body's blood energy surged and drowned out the universe's starry skies. Its combat strength was extremely powerful. It was provoked by bout-sized words and roared, "You shameless, boastful thing! How dare you, an abandoned member of the bloodline race, speak such nonsense in front of me? Wait until I suppress you. I'll make sure you're convinced. Trying to show off in front of Big Brother? You'll regret this." Balkai snorted. Its body was so tall that no one could tell that it was a giant panda. This shape-shifting technique was truly an ancient and dazzling inheritance. In any case, the two heavenly beasts had started fighting, and it was a shocking sight. What was going on? This was the first time the Emperor Road battlefield had witnessed such a bloody battle between their own disciples. "He's a descendant of my bloodline." The heavenly beast clan's primogenitor, who was nearing the end of his life, was extremely excited. The heavenly beast clan's bloodline was extremely rare. Including the primogenitor and the young heavenly beasts, there were only 4 of them in the entire clan. If the primogenitor passed away, the heavenly beast clan would only have 3 members left. Not to mention, there was even an old heavenly beast whose blood had dried up. The heavens have taken pity on my clan. At the end of my life, I'm still able to see one of my clan members. In any case, the heavenly beast clan's primogenitor was in a good mood. It did not matter if the younger generation had a fight, as long as they could return to their clan as soon as possible. In the battlefield of the top 100, battles were raging everywhere. The battle between Zhu Yanghua and Bamboo Moon had attracted a lot of attention as well. The 2 sky prides carried the heavenly bamboo aspect bamboo on their backs. The situation was somewhat similar to the battle between the 2 heavenly beasts. After all, they were both from the heavenly bamboo clan. Both of them had extremely powerful combat strength, and both of them had shocking aspect seeds to boost their combat strength. "Give me your life." Zhu Yanghua roared at the sky. He was slightly mad. The situation of the heavenly bamboo clan had changed drastically. If he was not standing on the Emperor Road, Zhu Yanghua would not have lived for more than a few days. If you return to your clan now, you might still be able to live. Since you're so stubborn, don't blame me for being merciless. Bamboo Moon's expression was cold. She was like a fairy from the 9 heavens who had descended to the lower realm. She brandished the vast Milky Way storm. A 1-foot-tall silver bamboo was also faintly discernible. It released the light of Mother Qi and suppressed Zhu Yanghua. She believed that the natal bamboo that had been forged by the prehistoric Big Brother would not be any weaker than the ancestral root that Zhu Yanghua had refined using unorthodox methods. Boom! All of a sudden, the first ancient road of time and space rumbled violently. From afar, it was as if the long river of time and space had been opened. A ferocious aura surged out, and countless large cracks appeared in the space-time. It was a terrifying sight. It was as if a prehistoric Qilin had been born and stepped on the universe. It was filled with shocking heavenly might. There was also the sound of a dragon's roar that shook one's soul. What's that? The important figures of the various clans in the outside world turned pale. They looked at the first ancient road of time and space. It was as if a black tortoise had appeared in the sea, a golden dragon had emerged from the abyss, and a Qilin had stepped on the earth. The prehistoric ferocious aura surged out one after another, causing the first ancient road of time and space to tremble violently. Saint Little Golden Turtle's true form. Che Jingqi was shocked. The ferocious beast that had been born was too terrifying. It was raging with flames of anger and burning with terrifying combat power. This was a terrifying creature. Its 4 hooves were like the hooves of a Qilin. The golden turtle shell on its back was like the rebirth of a black tortoise. Its head was as huge as a dragon's head. This was the golden turtle that was known as the supreme life form lineage. It was born with the characteristics of the 3 supreme life forms. The moment it merged into one, the Emperor Road's space-time trembled violently and set off a terrifying storm. The golden turtle looked down at Su Yin and said in a cruel voice, "It's your honor to be able to see my true form." "Ha ha ha! Su Yin looked up at the sky and laughed. His long black hair danced in the wind. His eyes were brighter than knives. "What are you laughing at, Ant?" Saint Little Golden Turtle hissed. His blood chi was rich and vigorous like an indestructible immortal furnace. His body was so huge that it filled up the space-time between heaven and earth. "You're really a turtle." This was Su Yan's reply. It exploded in the space-time and echoed between heaven and earth. "You'll die a horrible death." The golden turtle's head glowed. Golden ripples gushed out from its mouth and nose. They filled up the entire land and rushed towards Su Yin. This was the roar of a true dragon. It dominated the space-time. The golden ripples in the sky combined to form a golden dragon. It rumbled and attacked Su Yin. Su Yin stood tall. He suddenly stretched out his hand and grabbed at the golden dragon. From this moment onwards, a terrifying force pounced towards Su Yin. The golden true dragon that was pouncing towards Su Yin wanted to swallow his body. "Kill!" Su Yin roared. His battle blood surged, and the energy in his body surged out. He was like a supreme god of war that had merged thousands of immortals and demons into one body. His big hand directly grabbed the body of the true dragon, and he roared to the sky. "What a madman! He's too cruel." Che Jingqi went crazy. He was too domineering. The current Su Yin was an overlord. His aura was monstrous. He could pierce through the sky and collapse the earth with a raise of his hand. The aura of an 8th-level true immortal circulated with the initial sutra. It made Su Yin look majestic and peerless. Boom! He swung the dragon's body like a weapon and charged toward the golden turtle. The golden turtle stretched out a large hoof. It was like a qilin trampling the earth. It pierced through the golden dragon and charged towards Su Yin. It was a terrifying battle. The moment the two peak-level prodigies collided, the sky trembled. There was a huge energy explosion in the void. The light of destruction howled within a radius of 100,000 miles. It was accompanied by the blooming of bright red blood. The world was shocked by the golden turtle's body. It was too tough. Su Yin threw dozens of punches in a short period of time, but it was difficult for him to hurt it. Moreover, Su Yin's punches drew blood. Although it was only a superficial wound, it was enough to show how tough this golden turtle was. "Even you can't hurt me. It proves that you can't." The golden turtle sneered. It wanted to crush Su Yin in the most terrifying manner. Resplendent light flowed out of its 4 hooves. It evolved 4 shocking divine abilities and charged towards Su Yin. Boom! Su Yin's aura became more and more terrifying. In the end, he circulated the initial sutra to the extreme. Every move of Su Yan's carried the aura of the vast universe. It blotted out the sky and was peerlessly majestic. It was an intense battle and extremely dangerous. The two experts fought crazily. Killing techniques were frequently evolved and attacked each other with the most powerful force. As for the little golden turtle, he wanted to directly crush Su Yan's body. The battle was fierce. The sky was filled with the light of divine abilities, accompanied by blood and broken bones. The two experts were injured. Although their injuries were not serious, it was enough to see the degree of savagery. Young people nowadays are really too strong. The group of old antiques in the outside world were agitated. Their blood that had long calmed down was faintly boiling. They watched the life and death battle of the two experts. It was quite brilliant and intense. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. This was a head-on battle, a battle of life and death. The first space-time path was densely covered in cracks. Even this path was about to collapse under the peak battle strength of the two experts. One could imagine how desperate the battle was. Roar! The roar exploded like 100,000 claps of thunder. The ancestral blood in the little golden turtle's body was faintly boiling. However, no matter how barbaric and tyrannical the little golden turtle's physical strength was, Su Yan's battle physique was eternal and immortal. It carried the aura of thousands of immortals and devils, like a divine lord who could split the heavens and earth. "You're going to die." The little golden turtle's eyes were cold. The two experts fought fiercely for thousands of times. It was difficult to determine the victor. Moreover, he discovered that the more Su Yin fought, the more ancient and terrifying his physique was. This made him have a premonition that something was wrong. Could it be that Su Yin was using him as a whetstone? That's right. Su Yin was indeed preparing to borrow the little golden turtle's unique physique to stimulate the ultimate treasure of my burial of 10,000 bodies. He wanted to shatter it and fuse it, combining the power of 10,000 physiques into one. Boom! A shocking change occurred. The entire ancient path seemed to have been split in two. Su Yin was astonished. The golden turtle's body was suffused with a resplendent rain of light, like a radiance that could split the heavens and earth. What kind of secret technique was this? It carried the strange phenomenon of splitting the heavens, as if it could split the universe into pieces. It flowed with an endless source of destruction. Splitting the heavens, the aura of splitting the heavens bloomed, wanting to destroy Su Yan's body. The boundless killing intent that filled the sky attacked his body. It was even more violent than the Imperial Sage technique. Su Yan's physical body was trembling. He was about to be crushed and exploded by the heaven-opening light that filled the sky. Even Che Zhongqi, who was watching the battle from afar, felt his body on the verge of cracking. He was terrified, feeling that his body was about to explode and be split apart. What kind of secret technique was this? In fact, the outside world was already in an uproar. The leaders of the ancient orthodoxies were all shocked. The splitting the heavens was rumored to be the most powerful secret technique in history. It had been extinct for a long time, and no one would have thought that the little golden turtle would be in possession of it. Is the young demon king of the celestial court finished? This is the legendary splitting the heavens, which can cut through everything. Who can withstand it? An expert of the Xian people roared. If the celestial court can't even get a seat in the top 100, they will become the biggest joke. He, the ancestor of the golden turtle, laughed. Once this secret technique was used, the outcome would be decided. This was the splitting the heavens, which had been around for a long time. The power of this secret technique was unimaginable. It was said to be able to split the heavens, so killing a young paragon of the celestial court was nothing. After all, this splitting the heavens was known as the most powerful divine art in history. It contained all kinds of incredible power, and the power of splitting the heavens was released. As expected, the space-time of the first space-time path had been cut off. There's more at night. Chapter 1679. The first space-time pathway seemed to be on the verge of collapse. Finally, a huge arena rose from the ground. It was spectacular to the extreme and replaced the battlefield. Everyone was shocked. This had really overturned their thinking. The Emperor Road Battle Arena had appeared in the air in advance. The battle strength of the two was too strong, and it had led to the third stage of the arena. Was it going to directly determine the top 100 war god? Is the young Devil King going to be defeated? Many people were shocked. The sky was filled with the light of opening the heavens. There was an ancient and vast heavenly power. All of this energy was pushed out by Saint Little Golden Turtle, and it finally formed the divine light of opening the heavens. It rushed towards Su Yan. Almost immediately, Su Yan's body trembled violently. Blood spilled out of his pores. The world was shocked. The strongest war god of the celestial court was going to be defeated. The power of opening the heavens was terrifying. Su Yan's universe state was broken. The shocking power of opening the heavens was about to destroy Su Yan's entire body. One had to admit that this power was terrifying. It wanted to destroy the foundation of Su Yan's body and cut off the source of his body's power. It was worthy of being the most powerful superpowers in history. This was one of the most invincible superpowers in this universe. It was the power of opening the heavens. Roar! Su Yan let out an angry roar. Under the pressure, his body was blazing. His ancient constitution was rotating. Gods and demons were filling up with an indescribable power to bury the heavens. It wanted to come out in full force to suppress the power of opening the heavens. However, No matter how Su Yin operated and stimulated it, it was difficult to break and reconstruct his constitution in its strongest state. This made Su Yin angry. Was it really impossible? Was it really impossible to unearth the strongest treasure? Or was it that his constitution was too heaven-defying? If he wanted to break it, he had to go against the heavens and find a shortcut. In an instant, the destructive aura of opening the heavens swept over and was about to destroy Su Yan's body. Boom! Killing intent surged in Su Yan's eyes. Hundreds of millions of Kuan Peng symbols surged out of his burning body. They fused and reconstructed in the void, turning into an ancient Kuan Peng. An unparalleled, great magical power was released, blasting toward the power of the heaven-splitting technique. It's useless. The power of split the heavens can break all the laws in the world. No divine ability can stop the peerless killing power of split the heavens. Sage Little Golden Turtle's expression was cold. He had great confidence in the power of split the heavens. The power of split the heavens had already blocked the Kuan Peng's attack. As he circulated the power of split the heavens, the huge Kuan Peng was about to explode. Boom! The Kuan Peng was dismembered. Blood flowed like a river and dyed the entire arena red. Heaven-opening symbols scattered down, resplendent and resplendent, submerging the arena as if the arena was going to be blasted through. It was because this enormous arena was shaking, as if it couldn't support their continued struggle for supremacy. The young Devil King is about to be defeated. The entire world trembled. The power of opening the heavens was completely activated, already covering Su Yan's flesh, carrying out a terrifying killing blow. Something's not right. Look, what is that? All of a sudden, the situation on the arena changed greatly. It was as if the entire arena was rotating. Along with Su Yan's figure, it began to tremble, surging with a vast fluctuation, resisting the space-time of heaven and earth. There was also the sun, moon, and stars revolving around Su Yan. What kind of technique was this? Why was it so majestic? The 9 seals rose and fell along with Su Yan, seeming to represent the order and law of the universe. The instant they lined up, the stars were vast and mighty. The earth was undulating, and the enormous arena was also rumbling. Su Yan seemed to have evolved an ancient universe. It was grand to the extreme, releasing a terrifying momentum of heaven and earth, resisting the power of opening the heavens. It's useless. Break for me. No. No matter what kind of secret technique you evolve, you won't be able to escape death. Sage Little Golden Turtle coldly shouted. The power of opening the heavens became denser by a large amount, presenting the scene of all living things withering and the heavens crying blood. It crazily slashed down, one after another, destroying heaven and earth. The universe created by Su Yan began to crumble inch by inch. In the heavens and on the earth, only I am supreme. Su Yan roared as his figure rose from the ground and charged forward. Along the way, he directly merged with the universe. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed into a supreme god of the heavens and the earth. He controlled the 9 escape techniques and possessed the power to split the heavens and the earth apart. This is bastard. How is this possible? An old ancestor of the Mystic Heaven sect roared. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. This was the complete Mystic 9 escape technique. They were the ancestors of the Mystic Gate lineage. But what was laughable was that Su Yan had mastered the complete Mystic 9 escape technique and had even deployed it. Mystic 9 escape technique, Su Yan roared. His aura pierced through heaven and earth. It was truly remarkable. This was the first time Su Yan had used the complete Mystic 9 escape technique. From this moment onwards, Su Yan's flesh shell seemed to have turned into the universe's gate and began to connect with the universe. Boom! The stars trembled, and the boundless earth rumbled. Suddenly, Su Yan's aura was infinitely terrifying. It was as if he had turned into a grand heavenly realm expert, shaking the universe. Bastard, I'm so angry. The group of old ancestors of the Mystic Heaven sect roared. Who taught Su Yin the Mystic Nine Escape technique? Now that they were about to kill the young Devil King, he used the Mystic Nine Escape technique and drew on the power of the universe. He simply had the power of a grand, heavenly realm expert. This was too inconceivable, right? There was nothing to say. The Mystic Nine Escape technique gathered and spread the Tao in the starry sky, changing the heavens and earth. The arena seemed to have disappeared, and what replaced it was the universe's sea of stars, forming a super powerful domain pattern. Boom! The light of the stars in the sky fell down and turned into one terrifying giant hand after another that aimed to suppress the Saint Little Turtle's body. The golden turtle's face also turned green. The power of opening the heavens couldn't break Su Yan's universe pattern. He did the opposite. Borrowing the power of heaven and earth, he began to suppress his body. The giant hands of the stars covered the sky and covered the earth. There was no place for it to stand on the battlefield. Bam! Its body trembled. No matter how strong its defense was, it was still shaken by the giant hands descending from the sky. Roar! It roared, wanting to rebuild the power of opening the heavens and destroy all obstacles. However, it was useless. The super strong domain that Su Yin had created had replaced the entire arena. It had created a sea of stars in the universe that was densely covered with countless strange symbols. The power of the nine escape techniques had erupted, enough to destroy the heavens and the earth. Puff! Its body trembled, and its body was stained with blood. It was about to explode. Saint Little Golden Turtle is injured. He's about to turn the tables. Everyone's heart trembled. The young Devil King's mastery of the Mystic Nine Escape technique was too profound. Now, the Golden Turtle was in a passive position, deeply trapped in the domain pattern. No matter how strong and terrifying its power was, it couldn't break through the super domain in a short time. Roar! Saint Little Golden Turtle roared angrily. The flames in its body trembled, and it desperately used a series of great abilities to kill its way out and open a path to the arena. However, Su Yin was like a supreme god that controlled the universe. He drew upon the power of the universe and continuously evolved a shocking killing force. He beat Saint Little Golden Turtle until he fell to the ground again and again, blood spurting out from his mouth and nose. Bastard, you are really something. You made me angry. The blood-stained Golden Turtle roared. You think you can kill me by relying on external forces? What a cowardly turtle. Two bolts of cold lightning flashed in Su Yan's eyes. He saw that its head and limbs had retracted back into the turtle shell. Moreover, the golden turtle shell shone and was densely covered with billions of turtle shell inscriptions. Its defensive ability could be said to be extremely strong. No matter how the sky was attacked, it was still indestructible. I will crush you like a bug. The golden turtle shell shone brightly, as if it was the carrier of the great Tao. It enlarged in an instant, enough to support the ancient star sea and cover the universe's starry sky. The super domain pattern was trembling and would collapse at any time. Golden Turtle 3 Transformations. Saint Little Golden Turtle said coldly. Dragon Transformation. The golden tortoise shell was changing, transforming into a huge golden dragon. The wind and rain transformed into a dragon, raising its head and roaring as it charged toward Su Yin. Boom! The entire domain pattern collapsed. This was the race's forbidden secret art. At the cost of sacrificing one's lifespan, it was the strongest killing move. The golden dragon's body spewed out light, illuminating the world. Its flesh shell seemed to be made of molten gold and was filled with terrifying power. It was like a true dragon heavenly soldier was slashing down. Su Yan's expression was cold. He raised his hand and released a dazzling sword aura. It revealed an aura that could annihilate 10,000 immortals and slash toward the true dragon. This attack was extremely shocking. It was as if a celestial sword had been unsheathed. A huge crack appeared in the sky, and the terrifying sword radiance traversed the universe. It was as if it had split the golden dragon in half in an instant. Saint Little Golden Turtle's expression changed. He roared, "Golden Turtle 3 transformations, Dragon transformation, Heaven transformation." Its aura went berserk, activating this forbidden secret technique to its peak state. The golden true dragon collapsed, as if it had transformed into the heavens of the universe. Kill. However, Su Yan's sword became more and more terrifying. The sword aura that was tens of thousands of feet long was shining brightly and wanted to cut down the entire starry sky. This was the heaven-punishing sword's immortal slaying sword. The terrifying sword aura surged and shattered the sky, slashing towards Saint Little Golden Turtle's body. Turtle transformation. In the end, heaven and earth trembled. A forbidden aura was released and shook the entire arena. Saint Little Golden Turtle's aura was blazing. It had to be said that he was quite abnormal at this moment. It was as if he had penetrated into the grand immortal realm. The energy fluctuations whistled and made all living beings in the universe tremble. "Isn't this a F** King Turtle?" Su Yan was stunned as he looked at the sky. It was like a huge black walk that covered the sky. The scene was quite unbelievable. The grand arena seemed a little small and was about to be crushed by this tortoise shell. The moment the Golden Turtle 3 transformations changed, the Golden Turtle shell was quite ridiculous. It was as black as ink, as if it had turned into a black turtle. But it had to be said that the scene was quite ridiculous. It was even more serious than the collapse of heaven and earth. The black turtle came out of the cage. It was like a cosmic star rolling in the sky, rumbling as it rotated and charged towards Su Yan. What terrifying power! Cai Jingqi was shocked. Even Cai Jingqi was trembling. The sky was collapsing layer by layer, and the arena was shaking. The huge tortoise rolled over, suddenly forming a storm that could destroy the world. With a rumble, it charged toward Su Yan. "The outcome has been decided," the Golden Turtle ancestor said coldly. "Little brother's disciple is finished." At this moment, Su Yan felt that the potential of this big turtle was very scary. It had accumulated the spiritual energy of heaven and earth for a long time. If it was caught and made into soup, it would be a great tonic. Chapter 1680. The Golden Turtle's 3 transformations was a forbidden technique of the Golden Turtle clan. They would not use this technique unless they had no other choice. The fact that the little Golden Turtle Saint was able to use his ancestral secret art was enough to make the Golden Turtle ancestor fearful of Su Yan's strength. However, he believed that the reason Su Yan was able to force him to use this secret art was because he controlled the 9 mystical gates escape technique. Su Yan's understanding of the Mystic 9 escape technique made the progenitor of the Mystic Sky sect go crazy with jealousy. After all, Su Yan was only at the 8th heaven of the true immortal realm. It was unbelievable that he could unleash the combat strength of a grand heavenly realm cultivator. Moreover, the power of the Mystic 9 escape technique was not inferior to the most powerful divine powers in history. The Golden Turtle progenitor felt that Su Yan was relying on external forces and not his own combat strength. As for the Golden Turtle's 3 transformations, once this forbidden technique was used, it would use the Golden Turtle's lifespan and the accumulated spiritual chi in its body as the price to unleash a horrifying attack. The Golden Turtle clan had a long lifespan and would be in a dormant state for a long time. However, they would also slowly accumulate spiritual chi. Over time, the Golden Turtle progenitor's potential would become stronger and stronger. Once he transformed into a turtle, he would be extremely terrifying. Boom! It was a shocking scene. A big black turtle rolled over, and along the way, a bright light shone down. The huge arena trembled, and spiderweb-like cracks even appeared. This was the Emperor Road's arena, and it was extremely sturdy. Now, the Golden Turtle progenitor could even crush the arena. One could imagine how powerful and abnormal his strength was. "Give me your life." The turtle moved heaven and earth, surrounded by a terrifying energy of order, and charged at Su Yan. Su Yan tried to use his fist to resist. In the end, his fist smashed onto the big black turtle. causing Su Yan's body to tremble violently. Even his fist was torn apart. Moreover, there was a terrifying rebounding force that struck Su Yan, causing him to stagger backwards. He couldn't help but suck in a breath of cold air. What a strange transformation. It could actually reflect his strength and attack him. He had to admit that it was quite incredible. Kill! The big black turtle roared. It seemed clumsy, but in reality, it was extremely fast. In an instant, it attacked Su Yan. From afar, one could see a large black tortoise attacking Su Yan from all directions a total of 18 times in a short period of time. The entire universe exploded, and the arena rumbled violently. A terrifying energy storm swept out, threatening to destroy the entire battlefield. Su Yan's black hair danced in the wind as his battle aura surged. He did everything he could to stop the black tortoise, erupting with his greatest battle strength as he bombarded it. However, the scene was quite tragic. Su Yan's body was broken and riddled with wounds. His internal organs were in excruciating pain, and his body was in danger of exploding. Heavens, what kind of secret technique is this? Is the young Devil King going to explode? Everyone was shocked. The Golden Turtle's third transformation had exceeded their understanding. It was the ultimate turtle transformation technique. Its defense was unrivaled, and its attack power was shocking. Moreover, it possessed the innate ability to reflect. This was equivalent to an unrivaled saint technique. After all, it was burning the Golden Turtle's life as the price. Come! Su Yan roared in a low voice. His blood-stained hair danced in the wind. The iron-forged war god didn't retreat at all, and instead took the initiative to press forward. Some people felt that the young Devil King had gone mad. He knew he couldn't win, but he still wanted to fight head-on. After all, the little Golden Turtle Saint was too shocking. He unleashed a terrifying attack, causing Su Yan's fist to rupture. The dense white bones were visible. The scene became increasingly cruel. Su Yan originally had the qualifications to fight a bloody battle with the little Golden Turtle Saint. In the end, his innate ability erupted and began to suppress Su Yan. Did you see that? This is the gap between their foundations. Someone said with a cold expression, "The Celestial Court is no longer the Celestial Court of the past." The Celestial Court of the past was so terrifying with boundless foundations and countless divine abilities. In the end, the young Devil King has no moves to use. What a tragedy! Such a good seedling has been crippled just like that. The situation on the battlefield had changed greatly. Su Yan had been at a disadvantage since the beginning and was constantly being suppressed. His whole body was covered in blood and riddled with wounds. Some people couldn't bear to watch the battle. They felt that Su Yan was about to be beaten to death. In terms of foundation, Saint Little Golden Turtle was not made of paper. His foundation was simply too shocking. He could continuously maintain his turtle form. Just like this, a black turtle continuously suppressed Su Yan and attacked him. "I don't believe I can't beat you to death. Let's see how tough your life is." The little Golden Turtle Saint roared. Only he knew how abnormal Su Yan's body was. After being suppressed by his strength, Su Yan didn't show any signs of decline. On the contrary, the more he fought, the more powerful Su Yan became. The terrifying blood-stained war god stood tall between the heaven and earth. His moves were large and large as he attacked the little Golden Turtle Saint. Su Yan looked like he was seriously injured, but his bones and blood were boiling. His body was burying him in 10,000 bodies, and the burning heat caused Su Yan's fighting heart to become more and more vigorous and abnormal. It was as if it was going to explode, and his roar shook the entire starry sky. "Ah!" he roared. The divine power in his body shot out in all directions. His body emitted the light of 10,000 gods and demons. He felt that his body was about to nurture the power of 10,000 gods and demons. Thus, the aura that appeared was somewhat frightening, but it was extremely difficult to activate. Is it really impossible to activate? Su Yan's eyes were somewhat red. The successive battles had caused him to suffer heavy losses. He was riddled with scars. He still wanted to try. Bearing the risk of his body collapsing, he didn't use any divine abilities or secret arts. He only relied on his sturdy body to fight the little golden turtle saint. Kill. Suddenly, the little golden turtle saint's aura surged again. Under the state of a forbidden secret art, he evolved the power to split the heavens. He wanted to shatter Su Yan's body. In an instant, the aura of death closed in endlessly. The pressure made it difficult for Su Yan to breathe, and his bones were about to be crushed. In an instant, he woke up. I was too anxious. Su Yan's eyes were cold. He had to deal with this great enemy first. His blood-stained flesh glowed as he prepared to kill the little golden turtle saint. If he continued to fight with his body, he would be at a disadvantage. Reincarnation, heaven punishing. Su Yan's aura surged like an avalanche. His entire body seemed to be in the sea of reincarnation. Behind him was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. The boundless reincarnation aura surged, carrying with it the terrifying power of heaven punishing. So what if he had the power to split the heavens? In the face of the reincarnation heaven punishing Tao passed down to him by his prehistoric big brother, it was directly shattered. Kill. He released a terrifying punch that seemed to show the 6 paths of reincarnation. At the same time, he waved the 6-gate fist seal. With a boom, it shook the turtle shell of the little golden turtle saint. What? The outside world was in an uproar. The situation of the battle had changed again. Was Su Yan going to turn the tables? The golden turtle's face sank. What kind of secret art was this? It had forcibly broken through the heaven-punching technique, and the golden turtle, in its turtle form, trembled violently. In short, Su Yan's state was a bit scary. It was as if he was possessed by a wild and invincible big brother. He pushed forward and waved the reincarnation heaven-punishing fist, bombarding the black turtle continuously. What kind of secret art is this? Saint Little Golden Turtle's expression greatly changed. Although it was extremely difficult to penetrate the turtle shell, each punch contained a terrifying reincarnation heaven-punishing aura. It affected his life force and quickly drained away. He even felt that his turtle shell was about to explode. This frightened the little golden turtle saint. His father said that no matter how strong the enemy was, the turtle transformation technique was enough to stand in the domain of invincibility. No one could break through it. But now, Su Yan had the power to break the turtle shell. His courage was peerless, and he was intimidating. Su Yan became more and more courageous as he fought. His blood-stained body emitted the power of reincarnation. His aura rolled over and over as he fought with the turtle transformation technique. Even if it's a draw, it can't be you. It can't be the Celestial Court's bloodline. The little golden turtle saint was angry. A mysterious light appeared on the shell of the black turtle, carrying with it the power of time. Finally, it surged out in a mighty manner, suppressing all life in the universe. Daozu's bloodline. Che Jingqi stammered. This was the power of Daozu's bloodline. It was even more terrifying than he had expected, because there was a vague supreme law and order blooming. There was an unparalleled heavenly might that had existed since ancient times whistling. Suddenly, a figure appeared behind the little golden turtle saint, as if it was looking down on the past, present, and future. Daozu's bloodline. Su Yan's expression changed. This bloodline was indeed extremely demonic and mysterious. There was an aura that crossed the river of time, pressing down on him, causing Su Yan to feel very uncomfortable. Even breathing was difficult, and he felt suffocated. I am Daozu's son. Who dares to compete with me? The little golden turtle saint arrogantly said, waiting for Su Yan to bow down. This was the power of Daozu's bloodline. It contained a supreme fragment of the great Tao. With a light shake, the heavens and earth would collapse. Its killing power could be said to be unparalleled in the world. A terrifying aura rushed over. Su Yan had a premonition of great danger. All the hair on his body stood on end. It was as if he had seen a prehistoric monster coming to kill him. However, Su Yan didn't deliberately use his bloodline to block. Moreover, he discovered that his gray blood was surging. Soon, it burned on its own, and the light of a special envoy appeared. It resisted the suppression of Daozu's bloodline. How did you? The little golden turtle saint's expression changed. Su Yin resisted the suppression of his bloodline? He didn't believe it. After all, even if Su Yin also had Daozu's bloodline, it definitely couldn't compare to the power of their bloodline. Suppress. He roared. The ancient bloodline was released, wanting to suppress Su Yin. However, the stronger his suppression, the more violent Su Yan's gray blood boiled. In the end, it was extremely close to burning. It was filled with the ancient aura of heaven burial. It drowned the entire arena, burying everything. At the same time, it was plundering everything. How is this possible? The little golden turtle saint's expression changed greatly. The bloodline in his body was drying up, as if it was being devoured. This was a great crisis. The spiritual essence accumulated in his body was being devoured. This was too inconceivable. What could devour Daozu's bloodline? Could it be that Su Yin had the bloodline of the celestial emperor? Buzz. Su Yan's gray blood was changing. Soon, it was colorful, as if some kind of special chaotic bloodline was burning. Moreover, it produced a terrifying resonance with Su Yan's body. Su Yan's body was overflowing with brilliance. Thousands of immortals and demons rushed out of his body, faintly forming the image of thousands of gods kowtowing to Su Yin. So that's how it is. Su Yin shouted excitedly. It turned out that it was related to his bloodline. Moreover, the netherworld's seed devil was suppressed. His gray blood went berserk, wanting to devour all of Daozu's bloodline to make up for the loss. Boom! Soon, the gray blood light on the surface of Su Yan's body bloomed with colorful light. It was extremely sacred and ancient, suppressing the little golden turtle saint. The big black tortoise had already transformed back to its original appearance. The golden tortoise was panicking and uneasy, its soul a bit tense, because it sensed a type of pressure that transcended the great river of time. This was a type of boundless heaven burial power that suppressed its bloodline, making its entire body tremble. Oh no! The little golden turtle saint was terrified. This was a shocking change. He could feel death approaching. Almost instantly, he entered a self-sealing state. His limbs and head retracted into the turtle shell. The golden turtle shell sealed itself and was covered with ancient and mysterious characters. Come out! Su Yin was furious. He retracted, sealed himself, and went into a deep sleep. No matter how Su Yin attacked, he could not break through his defense. Although Su Yin had a powerful weapon, there were rules in the Emperor Road arena. Do you think I can't do anything to you if you hide? Su Yin sat cross-legged on the arena. He opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of life essence, which turned into a furnace. He threw the golden turtle into the furnace, preparing to use his life essence to refine it. He did not believe that he could not open its self-sealing state. Su Yin needed the power of his Daozu bloodline too much. It could strengthen the gray blood and stimulate the potential of the bloodline. He might be able to destroy the netherworld's seed devil in one go.